Hello, everyone. I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel, and I'm not dead. I'm back for a rewatch. It feels good to be doing one of these again. You know, I've had to take the break in a while, but yeah, it's nice to be back doing this tonight. So we are here with the Superman Returns rewatch, and I am joined thus far with my wonderful panel here, Big Al, my trusty TA as always. Say hi, Big Al.
Hi, Big Al.
And we have gracing us yet again, Mr. Troy, the Klingon cleric himself, looking very Godfather-esque with his his pose there. Welcome, Troy.
The Italian Klingon.
There you go. And we have the absolute lovely, making her debut on the channel, Mrs. Nanette, our netter, as she's called tonight.
Hi there. How's everyone tonight?
We are good. It's great to have you here.
Oh, glad to be here.
Net. Sorry, little.
Nice. The Krypton theme.
Yeah.
And we are supposed to have Fan Man here, but he's not here. So I started early and everything for him. So hopefully he's maybe he's just having some technical difficulties. He was having a little bit of technical difficulties the other night. I was doing a pre-recorded segment for his Fan Man tonight, which is going to be released just as a pre-recorded video tonight. So I don't know if he's having technical difficulties or whatever, but I'll continue to look for him in the StreamYard backstage, and hopefully he'll be able to go ahead and join us.
I was looking forward to having like a whole Justice League here.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah, the whole 5. That's right.
Well, I guess Aquaman didn't want to show up.
He would have been Aquaman.
Aquaman. That's totally true.
Hi, Marjade.
And Age of Boomer, thank you so much for the $2 super chat right out the gate. Troy, is there a Klingon mafia?
Yeah, I was just responding back to him. I said that I think the whole empire is the mafia.
There you go. Makes more sense. Yeah. Stephen Cruz for $2. Professor G returns. Merry Xmas, you filthy animal. There you go. Little Home Alone reference there. Close your ears, Al.
All right.
I'm okay. I can stand references.
Okay. I just know you don't like the movie.
Nothing with Macaulay Culkin is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
No, that is a Christmas movie. I concede that one fully.
Okay.
So I meant to say this even closer to the beginning, but let me go ahead and say it now. I was telling these guys before we went live. You know, this is a one of those big sort of loaded topic films. There are people who have you know, big opinions about it, sometimes passionate opinions about it and everything like that. So I imagine as we're going through the movie, we're going to have a lot of people just seeing the title and popping in and, you know, wanting to kind of give their opinion, their spiel on it or whatever. So I wanted to say this at the beginning. So if anybody comes in, you know, kind of confused as to what take we're going on, I can point them to the beginning of the stream. They can go back and hear this and then, you know, hit the live button and come back and join us. But the purpose of this live stream is not to try to convince people that all of the critiques of Superman Returns are stupid. It's the best film ever. And, you know, you should shut up because it's awesome. You know, that's not exactly what we're doing here. I've said many times on my channel that, you know, recognize that there are a lot of problems with the film when you take it as a portrayal of the iconic Superman. There are a lot of things in the script, in the story that just Superman just would not do. And we're definitely going to point those out as we come to them. You know, Troy's mentioned some, you know, we've been talking about some in our conversation and stuff. So we're definitely going to point those out when we come to them. You know, they're there. For me, though, this film is, especially in our post-Zack Snyder, post-Man of Steel era right now, this film it's become profoundly resonant and important to me, honestly. And what I argue about the movie is that, first of all, even though there's a lot of problems with it as a portrayal of the iconic Superman, there's still a lot of good in it as a portrayal of the iconic Superman that I didn't really see until after Man of Steel. You know, I was just too angry about it all. But then, you know, once Man of Steel came out and they learned all the wrong lessons from this movie, you know, I came back and rediscovered some of the stuff it really did quite well. The second thing, after studying this movie, I actually teach it in my Constructing American Heroes class, is that there is if you take this movie on its own merit and ignore it as a Superman film and just look at it as a film, you know, is it cohesive with theme and pacing and all that stuff like that? I'm really blown away by how well it's composed and how well it's put together and all of that. So we'll start talking about that once we actually start the rewatch. But I just want to kind of say that's the platform we're going to be going off. And My sense is that we're all going to have some differing opinions here, but we're all generally within that same ballpark, at least, I think. Or unless Troy wants to drop a plane on us.
No. I'm pretty much right there with you. Although I think that you're going to try to convince me that it's better than I remember it being.
Yep, perhaps. And if I'm successful, great. If not, no worries. Did you guys? No one caught my drop a plane on the ballpark reference.
Yeah, I'll get to that when we get to that point.
Just wasn't that worthy of mention, huh?
No, we'll come back to that point.
Semantic Dragon wants to know where to find the movie: Hulu, Netflix, Prime, basic cable.
I think I saw. I don't know if Matty Nui, if you're still here, but I think I saw in the pre-chatter what was going on while I was getting people in here. Is that it's on Netflix? Is that true? Somebody said it was on. I think it was Matty Nui said it was on Netflix. So
yeah, I thought I saw that too. Let me go back and check.
Yeah, we'll check while we're giving it a moment. I'm watching. I have a couple different versions on DVD, but just to make things easier tonight, I'm watching on Amazon, so that's where I'll be giving the timestamps and stuff from. Al, you're probably watching the file you got.
Yeah, which is 2 hours 34 minutes, which I think is the original version.
Yeah.
And Metanui did say Netflix.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, Netflix. Where I have this paused at for the play start point is I didn't know if people are going to watch it different places. Sometimes, certain sources won't have some of the movie logos at the beginning and stuff like that. So I have it paused at the moment of as soon as it fades to black in between the DC logo and the text that comes on screen giving the exposition of the movie. So on Amazon, it's at the 43-second mark. It's just all black. It's just faded to black after the DC logo.
Oh my gosh, there are so many logos.
I know you've got the... Oh, he's here. Fanman's here. He said, hello, let me in. There he is. Hello, Fanman.
The late Fanman.
You there, Fanman?
It's Aquaman. Aquaman showed up.
Okay, you guys are all dressed like superheroes, and I feel, like underdressed here.
Well, we know that the Wonder Woman bustier is right underneath the photo, so it's all good.
That's exactly right. And you can't tell from my picture because I'm in shadows, but I'm actually naked.
Oh, well, there you go.
Whereas we can I guess we can just call you the Thing, man.
The Thing.
We're going to go outside of the wrong publisher house, but
the big thing. No.
The Thing.
Don't even know.
Oh man, so much there.
Computer Robot said that I'm an awesome mom and Troy is the coolest dad.
There you go.
I was until my last comment.
Fanman, you're here, but we can't hear you. So black. It's just faded to black after the DC logo.
Why can't you hear me? I don't understand.
Yep, I always hear myself parroted back to me before Fanman comes in. So there we go.
I am no parrot. Long have I languished in the Phantom Zone, awaiting my release, Micah L. And you will suffer for making me wait so long.
I like that you.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hello, Fanman.
I had the mic muted there, so that's probably what was wrong. Yeah,
all right.
It turns out if you unmute it, it works. Hey, is it true that we're watching Man of Steel? Is that because I've got that queued up there?
We're all very excited for it. Yeah.
Professor Geese, you got a super chat of $15 from David Deister.
Oh, thank you so much, David Deister. You're the man. Thank you very much for that. Could you do the Little Mermaid rewatch and commentary that I requested? Yes. Yeah, I commented actually. Up at the top of the stream, because you were the first one in here like earlier in the day when I established this, and I did a couple comments down answer that, but yeah, no, I'm very open to that. Just a matter of finding timing, and I need to find the right cultural moment too, because I don't want to seem too random with it. But are they still doing a live screen, a big screen version, or was it just that sort of live play thing that they were talking about doing that happened during Thanksgiving? I don't know. Or whenever.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I just know that they dropped that new Mulan trailer, which still has absolutely no purpose for me.
Yeah.
Stop being such an imperialist racist, Al.
If you don't sing, make a man out of me, I am not going to go.
Yeah, that's
I'm the imperialist here.
Yeah. Make a gender fluid being out of me. I think that's the way it's the new song goes.
Did you hear Billy D's comments about that? What's gender fluid? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, it's Billy Dean. I'm sorry.
And then Random 42 said, make sure to change your gender fluid every 20 miles.
Nice.
I like that. I like that. That's very good. Who said that?
Random 42.
Mecha Random. Where are you, Mecha Random?
She's not in the stream.
I was gonna say, it's like, wow,
is that
no, she's a YouTuber that we listen to.
Yeah, I thought she was here, and I was like, seriously? And I was looking at the
That would have gotten the professor's attention.
I remember awkward flirting with her on the Midnight's Edge before I found out she doesn't necessarily go that way. But
no, she goes
okay.
both ways.
Both ways, yeah. Well, then my awkward flirts probably landed. She's probably thinking about me right now. So
hopefully you count as one of those two ways. I'm not sure. I'm assuming.
Well, she goes both ways, but neither one of them lead to the professor.
Al, that was bad.
He's back. I have not had a chance to make fun of this man for any length of time.
I was going to say, he's bottled up.
Pent up.
We're still talking about making fun of the professor.
I think Al's just been emboldened by having his own show for so long now.
I know. He thinks he's big stuff now.
He is big, yeah.
My friend, right. I've always been big stuff.
Well, Fan Man, I have it.
So many comments. None of them will.
None of them appropriate.
Are you watching along, Fan Man, or are you just here to kind of comment as we go?
Because I've seen this film so many times, it is ingratiated upon my very memory. No, I'm watching on a digital video disc, which is why it took me so dadgum long to get here, because I didn't find it in the attic with all of my DVDs that I've replaced with Blu-rays. So yeah, but now I'm good to go. Now I heard you say something while I was in the Phantom Zone about the DC Comics logo. Is that right?
I'm paused at the 43-second mark for where I'm watching on Amazon, but it's the fade to black right between the DC Comics logo and then the fade in of the blue letters on screen, given the exposition for Superman.
On the DVD, it's 43 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, good. So 43 seconds.
I'm at 44, so I'm at the general area. I think
I've got to be unique.
When I look at 43 here on my DVD, it's on the doomed planet Krypton.
Krypton, that's right. Yeah, Krypton.
That's not where I'm at.
Krypton, because it was Marlon Brando. It was Krypton. Kal-El. Krypton is from the you live on. Not Superman is how I would say your name.
That's really good.
It's not bad, actually.
I went to the dentist earlier today, and there's still cotton in my mouth.
And everyone, there are 34 people watching. I'm only seeing 14 thumbs up. Come on now.
What's up with that? Maybe they're waiting to see if I really got what it takes to talk about the good that's in this movie.
Yeah, I just want to go ahead. I think somebody should go ahead and say it, just to be the person that's the jerk, and that's my middle name. If you don't think that this movie is better than Man of Steel, then you're not a Superman fan. You don't really know anything about the character. Oh, bam! Bam.
At the very least, we can say you won't enjoy this live stream. At the very least,
no,
I couldn't say because I've never seen Man of Steel. So there you go.
Wow,
good for you. You know that and the Lost Jedi. I wish I had never seen, and The Force Awakens. Wish I had never seen them. Yeah, but this is one of those movies that you just scars you. You know, not Superman Returns, Man of Steel. So.
And Amy Booner did a $2 super chat.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, thank you so much. That was a decent DC intro. Yeah, back before they changed them all up and stuff. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, making it look like a toilet seat cover. That was the logo that came after this. I
love this one. Not even kidding.
It looked just like that, you know. And yeah, Age Boomer. Go ahead. I'm done. I was
just going to ask if you're all queued up and ready to go.
Oh, I'm queued up, son.
Good. It should be a good show.
Very, very well.
But I won't be here the whole time, but I'll be here for a little while.
That's okay. That's very much okay. All right. Well, then let's go ahead and get this party started, and we will go ahead and start talking about the film as we go along. So for those who might be new to the live stream or coming in for the rewatch later, I'll do a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then when I say I'll say 3, 2, 1, play. So as soon as I say the word play, that's when we all hit the play button. So I'll say 3, 2, 1, play, and then as soon as that play word is spoken.
So 3, 2, and then we hit play.
Yeah, you do that, and the rest of us are going to hit play.
No, I understand now. If you will say 3, then I will say 2, and Al will say 1, and then Nanette and Troy will say pause, unpause. And then we press. I'm sorry. I think Al knows what this is from that I'm riffing. This is from the Holy Grail, the two soldiers.
That's why it's not funny. Okay.
I was just picking on you with a little Monty Python there, Prof.
I'm gonna have to shove a holy hand grenade of Antioch down your throat.
Al, I'm starting to remember why we went off and did our own show.
Nice. All right, so here we go, folks. Get those fingers poised over the button.
Oh,
waiting for Fan Man to say that's what she said.
Is this Deadpool?
Okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, play.
Ooh.
Should there be sound? I wonder.
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
On the doomed planet Krypton, a wise scientist placed his infant son into a spacecraft and launched him to Earth, raised, now it comes the sound, by a kind farmer and his wife.
If he was really wise, he would have had a ship big enough for him and his wife, too. But
you know, did any of you check out the prequel comics that were released for this film?
I did, yeah, years ago.
I didn't even know about it.
Read the novel.
It's the novelization. Yeah, great. We'll talk about that. Yeah, I love that we start out here with Marlon Brando with the Jor-Els, and this whole opening is really amazing, and it's bold too.
That theme is just perfect.
Yeah, it takes you right back to 1978 with the first film, the imagery, the voice. You got the explosion there, and then the camera here, we go with Kal-El's ship through space to Earth. And that's a gutsy move in this kind of lengthy title credit scene, because that's not usually done in films, even in 2006, and from Up, you don't have those lengthy title sequences anymore. But they wanted to honor that original score and everything. So, and now we the camera are flying out here.
That's a hell of a lot of kryptonite.
Yeah.
By the way, that scene should never have been taken out of this movie. When you think about the scenes that could have been, Superman actually seeing the ruins of Krypton was beautiful. They finished all that. Yeah.
I understand why they took it out, but yeah, if you have the DVD, you can watch that in the deleted scenes. And here's this theme. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It just hits you right in the feels.
It makes you
bad hat, Harry.
Gives you the sensation of flying.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And with the visuals too, I love it. It's perfect.
Love that shield too. I've always loved that S shield.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit larger,
Yeah, it is a little small on his chest.
Part of it. Yeah.
The any good story, whether it's a film, a comic, novel or whatever, should be so cohesive in its theme that you should be able to boil it down to the point of saying this is a story about X. And sometimes it seems like a cliche little thing, but it's not. It means it's hearkening to one of the kind of central stories of the human psyche. They say that there are only about 7 basic plots out there, or whatever. But if you really look at this film and all of its themes and everything, it's really a movie about finding your place in the world after the changes that life puts you through. And that's easy to see, with Superman himself coming back to Earth after so long or whatever, trying to find his place, where am I needed and so forth. But the film also asks the viewer, because this is post 9/11. This is a post 9/11 film. It's the first time we're going in, not just a Superman film, but we're going back to reference and continue the continuity of the 78 Superman. That's huge. In a post 9/11 world, it's got some things to ask and some things to deal with. That's not the, is there room for truth, justice in the American way? So the film asks Superman that question himself. And it also asks us as an audience, can we still believe in something like truth, justice in the American way in a world where terrorism is now, enacted on American soil? There's no kind of clear right or wrong ideas are all over the place about the government. You've got the Patriot Act. You've got, terrorism, the war on terror, and so forth. It asks some serious questions, and I think it handles it in a good way in terms that it doesn't answer that easily. It doesn't just say, yep, everybody, it's hopeful and whatever. It doesn't give you a cookie cutter answer, but it also truly does provide hope in the end. And a lot of that comes at the ending that we'll get back to.
Yes, and there were references. I don't know how many references, but there were going to be 9/11 references, and they decided to take that out.
Yeah. They have the moment when Superman's watching TV and kind of flipping through channels and seeing some of the stuff, but I don't think it's really directly 9/11 related, but yeah.
Do you notice that when they do the zoom in on Earth, it looks like they're going down towards Louisiana?
I never thought of that.
That's a hell of a good place to go. The south part of Louisiana. I should say too that this is not the place I think you start this movie. First time we see a Superman movie since '86. You don't start with this. I think you start with that deleted scene of Kal-El landing on Earth.
Agreed.
But starting with Noelle Neal can't be a bad thing in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful to have her cameo here. And I've got to say, I love Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor.
I do too.
I think he makes it great.
Yeah.
He makes a great one.
He takes all of the stuff that Gene Hackman did, but makes it dangerous.
Yeah.
It's I've heard he's not the greatest person to work with personally, but man, I love his portrayal. I really do.
Well, and there have been a few controversies that have surrounded the man.
Oh, since then, yeah.
Are they eating her? What were the dogs doing there? I'd look. Eat? What's going on here?
Well, we'll see some dog eat dog action eventually, but yeah. The cinematography is also amazing in this film. The hues and the coloring, we faded in this scene through the statues. This is a big wealthy mansion. We faded in through that, and we're going to see a lot of imagery with larger than life statues, sculpture. Because one of the cool things this movie does about Superman is it acknowledges. I love this scene. As soon as this is so Lex.
Mm-hmm.
This is him coming out of hiding, and I just love these words he speaks here. I mean, look at that presence, and to do this to a little girl too. I mean, this just screams Lex Luthor. The rest is mine. That's so great. I love it.
That was actually a really good wig.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And Parker Posey's a great
she's awesome.
Successor to Miss Tessmacher.
Yeah.
One of the best things about this movie, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I love me some Parker Posey.
Yeah, she's great. But the film acknowledges the different mythological heritages the Superman has. So it we traveled to Earth with his ship, giving the Moses reference there. We're going to see Christ imagery, of course, Apollo imagery, a lot of Atlas imagery, and it ties it together really well. We'll talk about that as we go through. Now, that was Ben Carson. I think it's Ben Hubbard. Thank you. Ben Hubbard. And in the novelization, do you remember what actually is going on here in the novelization, Fan Man?
Yeah, they're and in the adaptation, I read that the other day, reread it. They are getting married and going to Montana.
Yeah, she's selling the Kent farm.
Yeah.
Which is a bit much to take, like me as a reader, but at the same time, it adds to that what must have really hit Clark coming back. They're like, wow, you really can't come home. The old quote goes. Can we give it up for Eva Maria Saint as Ma Kent here? Yeah. Amazing casting.
Love the old style radio.
In this little lull, I just want to mention that I think I said this somewhere and maybe on Facebook. The easy way that you retcon this movie to make a sequel to it now is that if you think about everything that happens to Superman in this movie, it's kind of all his nightmares. The world moves on, doesn't need him. Lois doesn't need him. Lex is out of jail. So you just establish, hey, yeah, that was kryptonite-induced nightmare. And then we just skip that, keep Brandon Routh. We can keep Kevin. Maybe. I don't know if he's still working. And we get a new Lois, obviously, because Bosworth was terrible. And we go forward. That's what I mean. I think there was an out if they wanted to. They could have easily done an out, but Singer didn't want to come back, and
yeah.
Yeah, I think Mark Kent's looking at this going, every time that boy comes home, he destroys the field.
Right.
It's a ship from advanced civilization. Can't it steer? Come on.
Well, he must have done, because I mean, he landed in Kansas again.
Yeah.
I
pretty
love
much
that.
got the bullseye.
I love that shot, how we see the flames reflected in her eyes. That was really, really nice framing there. And this is the mother, sons come home, you know. And the fact that the ship is the old style Kryptonian ship from the old movies, that it's a fallen star, literally is.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. I always loved that it looked like a Christmas ornament. I always thought that would be
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we used to have they used to sell this like Bethlehem star kind of a ornament. Well, it was like a big thing, like about a foot, but it looked like the old that ship.
Oh, cool.
Were you gonna say something, Annette?
I know. I was just agreeing with Al, or with the family. Which one wants that look like an ornament?
Yeah. Now we have the Pieta here with the mother and son.
And you know, I think,
but it's also an homage to the Death of Superman cover with, although it's Lois in that,
which
cover.
was itself a homage to the Pieta as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It is interesting to point out that I read recently that Singer had never read any Superman comics, and I don't think he read any to prepare. All he knew was the original movie, which
the Donner movie,
is a testament to the fact that movie is all you need to know Superman. It really is. It's the full character.
Very true.
Because he really, other than some narrative choices, gets everything else right.
Age of Boomers poking you, Professor.
What is it? Let me go back to this. Sorry, I get wrapped up in the movie. Age of Boomers said Allison Brie would have made a great Lois Lane.
Oh no! You know what? Sorry, I misread it.
But you think he said?
I thought it was Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
I saw Brie and got triggered. Sorry.
I had no idea who Allison Brie was, but
I heard Brie and thought cheese.
There you go.
Allison Brie played kind of a Lois Lane character in Scream 4. She plays kind of almost like a reporter. The perfect Lois Lane in the 90s would have been Courtney Cox. She was great.
Oh, yeah.
Still think Sandra Bullock would have been a great Lois.
That would too, yeah.
I love the interplay, the way he talks to what's Parker's name? And Kitty. Yeah, thank you, Kitty. Yeah.
Meow.
Recalling Lex's library from his underground lair.
Yep, exactly. The bigger, larger than life area. And what he's saying here too about the gods, man, you know, the gods bringing fire to earth and Prometheus and stuff like that. But you're not a god.
Huh?
Boom. Look at that. That reaction. Gods are selfish beings who fly around in red capes and don't share their power with mankind. That's perfect. That is such a Lex motivation. I love it. Sorry, what were you saying, Fabian?
Hey, I was just going to ask you, Prof. I said Al, but I meant you. I'm waiting until
I want my god.
I'm just realizing that in Superman the movie, we have Lex with a large body of water in his lair, and here they're on a large body of water. What's the what do you see there as a connection there thematically? What might there be with water and the villain? Anything?
Well, that's kind of striking me cold. But one thing I'm thinking of is the idea of this elemental force and the creation type force here, because we just saw the cutaway to that carving on the wall of Prometheus bringing fire to Earth. And we're going to see later some framing and blocking of Superman taking on the God the Father-like pose from Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, reaching out to Adam. We're going to see some stuff like that. So the idea of gods touching Earth, touching man, that's something that's repeated. And I think water is a primal, the creation of the world, because that's another great point. One of the great themes of this movie is, in terms of where is your place in the world, that's played out geographically as where is your land. Superman goes back home to find his homeland, Krypton. Lex, part of his plan is to create more land in the ocean, real estate, so the idea of land, what is your land? What is your place? What is your homeland property? That's all part of the themes that get repeated.
Otisburg. That's my land.
Tessmacher Peaks.
Tessmacher Peaks is where I spent my weekends. I'll tell you what.
Tessmacher got her own place. It's a little bitty place.
It's like, and how does he know to put his hands out like that?
You know, that's a good question here because this movie, we know it. What's that?
Oh,
yeah. The fan I've read over the years and kind of come to accept is that he would have been there in Superman 2. And so remember in Superman, I don't know if that was in the theatrical cut, but Lex and Tessmacher go there, and does he talk to, if not, is it Jor-El or Lara?
Yeah, to Jor-El. Jor-El thinks it was him.
So, yeah, that's how he's kind of familiar with it.
Yeah, that's in the Donner cut, Jor-El. But
okay.
What's interesting though is that
you got to see the chat, Pro.
Oh, thanks. Let me get that first. J Money J, thank you so much for $1.99. Henry Cavill to me is a great Superman. You might not. You might want to plug your ears a little bit then, because we're not exactly going to be honoring his Superman take. Now I know people have argued that given the right script, he could have been good. That's a valid argument we could have. I don't think so necessarily, but I respect people who take that. But for this stream, we're going to be kind of pointing out where this film, with all its flaws, actually got it right, and whereas the Man of Steel take took the wrong lessons from this and kind of took it in the wrong direction. But in the novelization, Fan Man, do you remember when Clark goes back to the Fortress of Solitude at one point? I can't remember if it's before Lex breaks in or after, but he sees one of the records of General Zod, and he remembers, oh yeah, I remember the files of my father Jor-El telling me about that old general from Krypton or whatever. So it very much establishes that the entire plot of Superman 2 is not part of the foundation of this film, because he never actually met them or fought them, at least in the novelization, which is based on the original version of the script. Things get changed between that and the shooting script. Do you remember that? I just remember taking note of that as I read.
I do, and that's interesting to mention that because in the novelization, Jason is not his son either. He's Richard and Lois's. So I wonder if between that script and then the final film, they decided, hey, let's make him the son of Lois and Clark, which would have to then bring back the ending of Superman 2, because how would Lois not know that her kid is Superman's, which is, I think, the big crux, the big problem of this film. Even if you could get past, Lois moved on and got with another guy, has a kid with him, the fact that it's Clark's or Superman's son, and the circumstances of that in Superman 2 are very icky.
That's one of the places
in the novel. In the novel, the kid was not Superman's.
No, he's not. Nor
so they didn't have the whole pushing the piano thing, and
nope. Instead, Lois gets Lex drops in some dynamite, and Lois grabs it and throws it down a chute, and I guess like a dumbwaiter because they get locked in the kitchen on the yacht, and then that's how they save themselves before Richard and Superman show up. Yeah,
here we have. Here we have Brandon Routh's first moment here as really seeing him on screen. We saw him just in the scene crashing, but now we really see him embodying Clark. And he just, even without the S shield on yet, he's just got the gravitas. He's got the charm. I mean, look at that. That's just he's the one who should be playing Superman right now. There's no other.
I mean, just his eyes hint at kindness and strength.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. The thing about the son, that's something that, 100% agree with you in terms of, that's one of the divides I'm talking about with this movie, whereas certain things just aren't appropriate for an iconic Superman portrayal. Yet, if you look at the film in its own merits, the echoing idea of father and son and legacy is very much in play or in keeping with the themes of the movie. But you're right, it's just not something that you should do with iconic Superman portrayal. So one of those kind of issues for that.
And I think too, overall in this film, there's and this is something that Singer said, it's a very somber film, and that probably wasn't how you relaunch a franchise. But Warner Brothers was so desperate that I think they gave him a great deal of creative control, and didn't rein that in, And I'm not talking about punches, John Bogdanove, who's one of the legendary Superman artists from the '90s, he recently said either on Twitter or Pinterest that. That Superman, what he does is help people, not get in fights. Yeah, he helps people and protects people. So no, we didn't need to see him fighting any huge monster or threat. Yeah, I don't think that was the problem with this film by far. The problem was a lot of tonal issues, and there is kind of this sadness, which again is part of what this movie wants to do. Wants to reflect on in a kind of meta way, what have we become without Superman? Because he'd been gone from theaters for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that it worked the way the series needed it to, or the franchise.
You say sadness and somber, and I do understand what you mean by that, absolutely. But I think it's it's in comparison, because after Man of Steel, that movie's nothing but sad and somber. And, that's nothing like the kind of somberness this is sort of a nostalgic kind of. Because look at that scene we just saw, young Clark. This isn't young Clark going, "Oh, it's so hard having powers. I don't know. I'm such a freak. Oh my gosh, what do I do?" No, he can freaking run with super speed and jump and fly. He's having fun. That's what Superman would do.
I feel so sorry for the dog losing his ball.
I know. Going, okay, he throws it so far, the dog starts to run. It's like, oh, I can't find that.
I love Brandon Routh, the way he acts here. His face, Superman's face here, watching all of what's happened to the world since he's been gone. It's not anger, but it's like a sadness. It's like, wow, you can see some doubt. Should he have left? This kind of thing. This is part of him wondering about what his place in the world is now. He's coming back to a world that still wants him, still needs him? Is there still a place for his unique kind of heroism and whatnot?
Super chat.
Oh, thank you. J Money J, Kate Bosworth is my least favorite Lois Lane. I think just about all of us here would agree with you. Now, in her defense, I'll say she played the part that she was given quite well. It just, the part that she was given should not have been written for any kind of Lois Lane. That's my take on that anyway.
Yeah. Not to mention she just didn't look the part either.
Yeah.
Very young and frail and not frail, but I just don't think she didn't really have that spirit either.
Didn't have the spunk.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you have, this guy here, and he is so embodying Chris,
Yeah.
And then you have, you're looking for that Margot Kidder spirit, and you just don't get it,
Yeah.
I watched the documentary of the making of this film, which kind of followed Singer during the process of casting and all of that. And it does seem like, for all of his great vision of this film, Kate Bosworth was just sort of a personal preference he had from beforehand, or whatever, that just kind of crept in from his own preferences. Didn't really match the film.
Suggested her. Yeah.
And I love his Clark. This is so perfect. Clark being the bumbling, look at him knocking into everybody. Which again plays into the idea of, where is his place? He doesn't fit in even walking through there. And I'm going to go on down, and this might, some people can disagree. That's fine. Sam Huntington is the best on-screen Jimmy Olsen we've ever had. That's my take on that.
I have to agree with you on that, even though I don't want to take anything away from, what was his name?
Mark McClure.
Yeah, thank you.
He was wonderful.
Yeah, I like I like Jack, not Jack. Is it Jack? In
Jack O'Halloran?
In
the old
Adventure
Show? Yeah.
But Huntington's great. Yeah, he really is.
He really is good. I like that he looks up to Clark too, even just as much as Superman. I like that idea. I love him as Kent. I did. I wanted a more blustery Perry White, but I do like, in the context of this film, a kind of a more of a quiet time bomb. That,
like a more older, tired type of chief.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Weary.
I know the feeling.
As good as the actor who played J. Jonah Jameson, I think he could have made a great Perry White as well.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Might be hard to see him delineated as either or, but he could definitely pull it off, I think.
Yeah. Well, because the two characters are so they're virtual mirrors of each other almost.
So we're talking about
Lane Smith. God rest his soul. He was
great. Shades of Elvis.
We're talking about gods and man here, and creation, and God's reaching down to earth, and also man reaching out to be God, right? This is what Lex is trying to do. Well, here we have this plane, this shuttle attempting to launch off a plane. This is man reaching up to the heavens, This is and the cool thing about Superman is he's the bridge right here. He's the son sent from the Father to earth. He's the bridge of heaven and earth in this context. This is one of the Christ-like aspects to him. why the world doesn't need Superman.
Well, did you catch though the framing on that? How he sees that she got the award, and you can't see why because of the sun blocking it out.
That's good cinematography there too, as well as blocking the picture here. Yeah, that's good point. Good call.
Even though he's got X-ray vision.
I'm probably used to not trying to use all of his abilities when he's incognito as Clark, but you're right.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to. Yeah, because he has to activate his. I mean,
or like Dean Cain, he has to put his glasses down to be able to use his X-ray vision. I always love that. It was just always thought that was. I know why he did that, but I just thought that was.
Yeah.
So wait, how long has he been gone? Had to have been gone 5
years.
5 years. 5 years?
It's 5 years.
Yeah, his mom said 5 years earlier.
That kid is older than 5 years old.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It should have been 1 year with the technology that he has. Because did it take him? How long did it take him to get to Earth in Superman the movie? I don't think it was 5 years. It looked like he was about 2 when he was.
Oh no. The color palette. What's that?
It could have been the route, and we can't exactly trust his ability to fly that thing.
Well, if I recall the first movie,
one dog ate the other dog. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, weren't there 2 of those? Yeah.
Doesn't Jor-El say something like many thousands of years will have passed because of relativistic speeds? Or something
time
like that?
speed. Yeah, space light. Yeah. The color palette of this film thus far, I've heard a lot of people say, I'm so sick of Bryan Singer's muted color palette, and he does like muted colors, sure, but this film is 10 times more colorful than the Snyder film. That filter he used. Snyder was trying to go for grays, moral ambiguity, grays. There's no real thing that sticks out, not even Superman himself. Here in this film, you've got especially outdoors inside Metropolis, you've got a lot of muted browns. Brown is different from gray. Brown is a sullied morality. It's not an absence of morality. Indoors, it looks a little bright. You got some hues of blue, but all of this is carefully done because you don't really see vivid popping color until Clark rips open that shirt and we see the Superman in action in the costume. And that's a great little thing to play with the costume designs, just the way that pops, because morality's returned to the earth,
and that's Jack Larson, right?
Yep.
The first Jimmy.
That's what I was talking about earlier, Jack Larson. I always liked his Jimmy.
Yeah. He's great. Just have a little cameo here.
Cool to have Jimmy and Jimmy together.
Yeah.
True.
A lot of cool behind the scenes photos of the two of them.
Which echoes the Lois and Lois from Superman the movie.
Train.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, was he supposed to be Bibbo?
Yeah, he's Bibbo. Yeah, it's mentioned in the novelization and adaptation. Yeah. So
still Superman's pal.
Yep,
that's exactly. Right. He sure is. That's it.
Good point. I didn't think about that. That's good. I like we're talking about the costume design here. This is and the set design as well. And Family and I've talked about this before. This is the only on-screen live-action proper portrayal of Metropolis as an Art Nouveau design city. That's what Metropolis is supposed to look like in the comics. Just like Gotham is not supposed to look like Chicago. It's supposed to look like a Gothic, ramped up New York City or whatever on that aspect, the Gothic aspect. Well, Metropolis is supposed to be that kind of Art Nouveau style, and that's key because it was popular when they were creating Superman in Metropolis, of course. So yeah, there's that. But there's also the idea that Art Nouveau was something that really came to prominence in the opulence, of the 20s and stuff like that. But New York's a lot of buildings were designed with that style, and it remained popular throughout the 30s, throughout this dark time where things are not so hopeful. It remained popular when people wanted to look back for a more hopeful design, a more larger than life. They're looking for something, so it really gives Metropolis the city of tomorrow look. Metropolis, just like Gotham, should very much be a character in these movies. Mm-hmm. And this is the only film that really gave us that. We'll see some of the architecture. I like Mark Post. It's freaking Gone with the Wind. The costume design too, though. Just like Batman '89, they're mixing styles from different eras. So you've got a little bit of the 40s ish, with some of the dresses you'll see, some of the more contemporary styles. You've got all that kind of mixed together to give it its otherworldly. DC is not the world outside your window in the same way Marvel is. So this film approaches that feel quite well.
I love how he moves back.
Yeah.
Okay, I know this is me just thinking slowly, but okay, I'm glad we came back here. Can I just say that if that's Bibbo, that's some great homage to the comics.
Yeah.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That had to be Doherty. Doherty and the other guy, I forget his name, who wrote this.
The writers, yeah.
Been big comic fans, yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Doherty would go on to do Trick or Treat and Krampus.
Yeah.
Man.
What's that guy's name there? Isn't that like an actual astronaut or somebody from NASA who's doing the communications there? I remember seeing that from
Buzz Aldrin? No, I don't.
It's somebody who's a big deal at NASA or whatever actually has a role in this scene. I think it's in the communications there, or I don't know.
I know that Virgin Atlantic, who's that guy? He's involved with this scene. The entrepreneur guy.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name.
Yeah. Begins with a B. That's all I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Branson. I think he's in.
Yeah.
I think.
We're experiencing a slight power outage.
You're falling from the sky.
Yeah.
Spin Doctor.
Yeah.
And Peter Wilson from Femme Nikita on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Sorry, guys. Now, this here is a perfect moment. This is we're building up to the airplane rescue, which I've never heard a Superman fan not like the Superman rescue. I've heard people who hate this movie through and through, but still say, "Yeah, but that Superman rescue, that was pretty damn straight." That was. And is that you too, Troy, or did you have problems with it? You were saying you talk more about it later.
Yeah, I have some small problems. This goes back to the verisimilitude.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't have a problem catching that plane. He's caught planes before.
It's interesting you say that, because in the novelization, when he's flying after the plane, it talks about how his body is still reabsorbing the solar energy, because after his trip, he's not as powerful as he was in his prime. And that's something you don't see in the movie, because it doesn't really give you that, but he talks about how it feels to be flexing his muscles and, the power returning to him and everything like that. So, but yeah, that's a good point. It's just not shown in the movie.
So we're supposed to believe that biofield that he gives off or whatever that allows him to catch a plane without the thing crumpling is just not up to snuff or whatever.
However you'd like to see.
I like the fact that it crumbles and like the wing flies off just from a physics standpoint.
Yeah. It shows that, we'll talk about it as it goes into it, but yeah, it shows the care that he takes not to just stop at brute force, but to save the people inside. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that Return to Krypton scene is amazing. Highly recommend it. It's on YouTube.
You can find it on YouTube. Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
And he's very weak, and you see that when he crash lands on Earth, that's why he's so weak, because he's Krypton. There's a lot of it left, and it's all kryptonite. And so he's nearly killed just by being near it.
Yeah. And what's interesting in that scene too is that valley that he enters into. In the novelization, it tells you that was the Valley of the Gods on Krypton. But long before they became a great scientific race, that was an old valley they had of the gods. And that specific part of Krypton is the part that Lex reestablishes when he drops his crystal in the water later. And that's the Valley of the Gods. So again, this idea of gods and man and this whole kind of thing, it's all there echoed over and over again.
The novelization was written, and I think the adaptation too, by Marv Wolfman. So he adds so many Bronze Age, stuff that he wrote probably. Superman lore. It's really good. I can't recommend enough the Batman Begins novelization written by Denny O'Neil, where he even has some stuff from The Shadow in that. What's
that? The Batman Begins, you said?
Yeah, the Batman Begins novelization.
This is why I want to know, why do they not go to these people to write the movies?
Yeah.
Oh,
true.
Yeah.
You might hear a sonic boom as everyone goes forward.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Kevin Smith said that. He said, talking about his time working on Superman Lives before Tim Burton got involved and kicked him out, that he suggested, why don't you go to Dan Jurgens? Why don't you go to the guys that were writing at the time, write this right after the death of Superman-ish? And they said, oh, those guys, we don't even recognize what they do. We don't give them any kind of credit. Other studios, Marvel, has proven that they go to those guys.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Warner Brothers still doesn't go to them.
This whole scene here is such a. This film has a couple of different lessons that are really kind of touched me, kind of profoundly. But this idea here, he's sitting there having a drink, right? Superman's just kind of, oh, woe is me. Lois is with another guy. I probably shouldn't have left. Oh my gosh, I don't know what my place is. Does the world even need me? Does Lois, will she even want to see me? I don't know. He's so wrapped up in him right now, but suddenly he gets the call. I'm needed, and only I. The things that I can do. The world needs the things that I can do only, and it needs me out there doing this. I just need to stop thinking about myself. And this whole, the walk right here, the John Williams score, it just psychs me up so much, because there's so many times in life where you just got to get off of your pity party and go do that thing which only you can do, that the world's crying out for, and be there for others. And I love it. I love this whole scene for that lesson. I'm going back. I know I get wrapped up in this film. I'm going back to make sure I didn't miss any super chats or anything.
Nope, you haven't.
Okay, good. Thanks.
She takes that blue wrench seriously too, so she's watching that.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. This is really going great. I'm so glad you could all. I know that's. I'm so glad you could all join me. This is really going great. I appreciate all the input you guys are giving.
This isn't good.
Now and I heard Brian Singer saying that, so they technically don't exit the Earth's atmosphere. They lose gravity in that moment of transition from suddenly ceasing to go up and starting to go down. I think that's technically what's supposed to be happening, right?
That's technically what weightlessness is. It's falling, and it doesn't have anything to do with how far up you are.
They do a little vomit comet action.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now here we have the first bit of Atlas imagery. Superman holding something up above his head, which is ultimately holding us above his head. He holds the world. This is Atlas, holding up the earth on his shoulders. And this image is repeated over and over and over again in this film. I'll be calling it out each and every time, because the idea of the weight of the world on your shoulders. Atlas is also a deity associated with astrology, and this is something from Superman coming from the stars and whatnot. But we'll see this over and over again. But it's not just Atlas, the specific god of the mythology, that he's really going. He's going for the imagery, and he's going to liken it to the Christ-like imagery, to the Moses imagery, to the Apollo stuff. We're going to see it all kind of tied together with some key moments that I'll call out later.
I wanted to also bring up something about the characterization of Lois Lane. Why is she up and out of her seat? She's the only one that got up to help someone.
Good
she
point,
got to help the lady that was giving the presentation, but she said, then can I have some help? And somebody else got up too, but I guess they sat back down.
But what is she? She's a hero in her own right.
Exactly, yeah. And that's a good point too, because that's one of the things this film shows with Lois and Richard in particular, is that Superman's place in the world is to come back and inspire us. And our place in the world, the answer to the question of can there still be truth, justice, in the American way? Can we still have a hopeful character like Superman in our post 9/11 world? The answer is absolutely yes, but the answer is for everybody else to be a bit more Superman-like, to take his inspiration. And we hear that clip from Jor-El's speech played later at a very key moment, and we see Lois and Richard even exhibiting a lot of heroism. So yeah, that's a great point. It ties into it. I'm glad you mentioned that.
I like that. We're declaring an emergency. You think?
Thanks, genius. Glad you're here to tell us these things.
But I love the drama of this. I love the I'm blanking on the guy who did the original score for this, but how he what he added to it is so in the spirit of Williams, but it's really quite iconic in its own right too.
See, that's where I was I'm like, really? You've done this so many times. You ripped the wing off, but that explanation, I just wish it was here. I shouldn't have to read a book to know that.
Sure. Yeah. That's fair.
And I never understood. I mean, I do understand why they took it out, but millions of dollars were spent on those special effects. I mean, the Return to Krypton's beautiful, you know, and
do you like the Return to Krypton scene, Fan Man?
Yeah, I think they should have definitely found a way to keep it in and maybe even take some stuff you could.
I gotta go for this here because America. This is baseball. Yeah, Superman, America, mom and pop, apple pie, baseball. It's so perfect. And screw you, Zack Snyder. Screw you, everyone involved in the storytelling Man in Steel. When we see our hero return, if you truly think that it's appropriate for the world to react with fear and distrust and all of that, that's ridiculous. We've seen our hero return, and the moment they start cheering for him, I just want to cry. It's just it's
the most magnificent scene.
Absolutely.
What gets me is Lois was bounced around so much in that thing. She should have something broken, and she doesn't.
Oh yeah, I like the airplane saying "fly up, fly up."
She's tiny but tough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now here is where embodies Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
look at that.
That is the return of Reeve.
Absolutely. Using the lines that he uses too.
Yeah,
they all look there. Oh, it's so perfect. But you all
put any of you off flying.
Still the safest way to travel.
And they're all like, yes, sir.
And
yeah, exactly.
And it's the same line that Christopher Reeve used.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
And the little wave. Yeah.
And then right here, boom, this is it. This is everything. Thank God our hero's here. The one who inspires us is back. The one I felt what this audience felt so much watching this movie in the days after Man of Steel and leading up to BVS and all that nonsense. And it's like, this is where it is. And I like the cutaways to everybody else who's been in the scene, you know, and their reactions to it here. Jimmy in the bar.
Yeah.
That's just perfect.
Yeah, there were people cheering in the theater the first night I saw this. A very packed theater, and this was a crowd pleaser. You know?
Oh, yeah. Big time. Oh, and the music, it's everything.
It's like, dude, you just gonna leave that plane sitting on the ball field?
Yeah, right. Can't you at least clean up the mess?
Perry actually references that later when he's giving people story assignments. He faints just as she did in the
plane out of it.
On the helicopter one. That's great. And then you cut to the wreckage that Luthor wants to enact with his quote unquote godhood. You know, so a big disconnect there. Every time I see this movie, I'm like, what is Kumar doing in there? Yeah. Or is it Harold?
Yeah.
I don't understand that either.
Yeah,
he and Singer
go to White Castle.
Singer must have liked him or worked with him before or something.
I mean, to be fair, he does a good job in the film, but I just see everything else he's ever done, you know?
Yeah, but
that's saying something. You know, you guys mentioned earlier, what's his name? Who's in everything? Who played J. Jonah Jameson? He's someone who could have played Perry White, and only for a brief moment at the beginning would you say, "Hey, that's J. Jonah Jameson," because he's such a good actor.
Right?
He would have become Perry White if you don't make people forget your previous role. You're not doing your job.
Yeah. I like how he's handing out the assignments to the staff, and at one point he goes, "Sports, how are we going to get the plane out of the field?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just popped at the chat to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I see Owen Lister saying Superman Returns is underrated. It has recently become my second favorite Superman movie. Man, I understand what you're saying, and I would almost in some ways say that with you. At the same time, I don't care how bad the movie is, Superman 4. If it's got Mr. Christopher Reeve in the tights, it's got to be, you know, worthy, you know. So, but no, I'm absolutely understand what you're saying.
I do think all the movies could be improved with just a little bit of editing,
tweaks here and there, yeah. But this movie does really mean so much to me, though. It really has grown really important to me over the past years.
I mean, I look at him and I still see Dracula.
Oh yeah,
obscure reference.
I see Skeletor.
Skeletor, there you go.
Skeletor. Okay, I forgot that. Yeah, he did something after Dracula. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It still amazes me that he, for a while, dated Whoopi Goldberg.
Seriously? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh. This inclusion of Richard, James Marsden does a great job with the character. And this is one of the things that makes me in awe of, but then also really pissed off. But the thing is, you don't mess up the Superman Lois relationship with a love triangle. And you wanted it to at least just be let Richard be a heavy that you can easily hate and that could easily be sidelined out of the thing. But no, it's actually an incredibly well written love triangle.
Yeah.
As much as it shouldn't be there. I mean, James Marsden is playing Richard is just an amazing person. He's a really great guy. In the book, it talks about how he's very much inspired by Superman, looks up to him. He's a pilot himself. He likes to fly, you know, quote unquote.
He shoots laser beams out of his eyes.
But it's just, it's good writing. It's just a good writing that shouldn't have been, you know, key to this exact characters, but it really is impressive.
But yeah, it would have been so easy to make him like just unlikable.
Yeah.
Or when Superman returns, turn all jealous and bitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just a nice guy.
Deleted scene where he finds out he has terminal cancer anyway, or something like that. You know, just those cheap little outs, you know, that a film like this might have, but it doesn't do that.
Well, I think it's funny as how she was talking to her son about, you know, did you take your eye drops? You got your inhaler? You got this? And saying he's such a fragile little thing. It's like, no, he's not. He's the son of Superman.
Exactly. But that's interesting. This in the you know, we've seen that in the comics, like with Jonathan Kent and stuff. There would be sort of a back and forth with the anatomy. Isn't that right, Fan Man, from like Rebirth? Like Batman was investigating that. You'd almost see a back and forth before it really solidifies. Like with all the genetics mixed together and stuff.
And then
that's
that
right.
He may end up being stronger than his dad at some point.
Yeah. What do you say, Troy?
Well, no, I was
guys.
just
I'm going to have to
him
out, but it is a very great pleasure.
Okay, well, really great to have you so far, Fan Man. I really appreciate you popping in and giving us what you could give.
Bye,
Take care. Thank y'all so much. Take care, Fan Man.
I got to run and get my daughter. So.
Yeah, go get her.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
You too. Good night, everybody.
Fan Man, did you get the burning?
I think he took off.
Oh, okay.
What were you saying, Troy?
I was saying that you got a super chat, H Boomer.
Oh, thank you. Age of Boomer. Superman 3 is underrated. Superman versus himself. Yeah, that's yeah. It's, you know, as much as it pales in comparison to like Superman 1, obviously, there's some really cool stuff in 3 and in even 4 that you could tell with some different editing or with some different inclusion of some of the old scenes and everything would have really worked well. But yeah, Superman 3 does have some great moments there too.
I was just
pretty Richard Pryor and to get a little extra cash flow.
All right, wait. Listen, what is Kitty singing?
He's got the whole world in his hands. Yeah.
And then boom. And we show this. And then think about the Atlas imagery where he literally does have the whole world in his hands, starting to tie together these mythological elements. I'm sorry, Troy, you've been trying to say something for a bit there. I think.
Anyway. I was just referring back to something that who was it? Somebody was, Aged Boomer. He's talking about Superman 3. I was asking if the stream had seen the fan edit that was done that combined 3 and 4, I think in a very ingenious way.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love the song that's being played too. And him kind of awkwardly smiling. It was like, yeah, I've been there. I've been the one caught staring and then give the creepy wave and I love it.
Guys, one big elevator.
Right? It's huge. But look at that larger than life architecture of the whole building. I love it. When they walk out here, you can see the sculptures and everything. This is what I mean with the Art Nouveau designs and style. Love it. Now, I really don't like this idea, you know, when she says someone just leaves and Superman's like, well, maybe he just thought it would be too hard to say goodbye, so he didn't. I'm like, come on, you're Superman. Put your big boy trunks on and you know, you treat people better than that, you know? But Ralph still sells it, you know.
Because as strong and as much as he is Superman, he is still Clark, and Clark has those
That's the key.
regular
He is still
male,
yeah.
insecurities sometimes.
Yeah.
Ooh, Mountain Dew.
Product placement there. I would love to live in that city. Look at that.
And something that you were starting to get at there, Al, you see that in the comics a lot, where you often part of something that's just beautiful about the relationship between Lois and Clark is how he does doubt himself from time to time, and Lois is there to just say, "Hey, no, you know, just the way his father did in Smallville, you know, just to build him up and say, you know what, you don't worry about that, you're doing just fine."
Yeah, that's a good point. That's really what makes Lois the right match for him. So this is Superman finally flying over the city again, but it's this somber moment because he's throwing the pity party for himself again. You know, he's having the sadness for Lois. What were you gonna say, Minna?
I was gonna say, shouldn't he be finding an apartment?
Yeah, right. Now this is a real problem, and I admit, for iconic Superman, it's a real problem when he's kind of peeping on Lois here.
Yeah, super voyeur.
Yeah, I have a big problem with that. It's like, dude, she's not your girlfriend or whatever anymore. What are you doing peeping in her house?
Yeah, this is something that the Superman would simply just never do. At the same time, it does work for the themes of the movie in that it's a repetition of him entertaining this little pity party of himself, though. And then suddenly, what does he do right after this, which I love? You know, he has this moment, he realizes, I think as soon as she says she never loved him or doesn't love him anymore or something like that, the next thing we see him do is, instead of hovering over Lois and trying to look out for his own interests and his own, drama or whatever, he flies up to the orbit of Earth and instead listens in on distress signals. And I think that's kind of cool. As much as he should never do this, and he should never have done this scene, absolutely, I agree. I do like the juxtaposition of going from listening to this for his own personal interest and going up into orbit and listening to distress signals so he can be a service to others and not himself,
Aged Boomer.
Super chat.
Yeah.
Super chat, Aged Boomer. Man, you rock, Aged Boomer. $2 again. Thank you so much. Is this Superman's version of Facebook stalking?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't know who would do something like that.
I don't know at all. I've never done that.
Well,
poor James.
If you're Facebook stalking, you're looking at stuff that someone is actually putting out there.
That's true. That's true.
You have every right to, just as anyone else would. This is not something that she's putting out there to be seen.
Exactly. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Well, that's what you get for hanging around a guy who can fly and has X-ray vision.
Yeah, my big problem. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, my big problem is this guy, he's a turncoat because he came over from the Marvel side.
And he's yet again playing that the jilted lover and the love triangle kind of thing, Cyclops versus and this is something that Singer does like, love triangles, even if they're not romantic love triangles like Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Wolverine, or this here. They'll often be love triangles in the sense that, like, a mentor or a mentee with two different mentors, the student bounced between two teachers or whatever. He likes this kind of idea of the triangle relationships, and he does them well, like I said, but it's just something that shouldn't have been in there. This sad music, though, it's just such a it's touching, but I like the way it tinkles into the hopeful.
Yeah.
And they always say, it's like, don't bother eavesdropping because you're always going to hear something you don't want to hear, and that's what he did.
Yeah,
well, that's true.
And as he's flying up, he hears Jor-El's voice. You're among them, but you're not one of them. They can be a great people, but they lack the light to show them the way. Mm-hmm. And this gets back to his purpose is not to fade out and be one of them, but to lead them into greatness, to lead them into something greater.
But his other father was the one who told him about his humanity and how he had to be one of them.
Well, that's the conflict that he resolves by the end. How can you be an example to them and yet not some lonely overlord, one of them as well? And we see that with the son kind of thing. But
exactly.
I love that image of just him. Like I said, the only two issues I have with the outfit, the S needed to be bigger and the boots needed to be higher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the boots needed to come up a little bit.
I didn't like the cape.
I
didn't like the cape at first, but I came to really kind of like the flapping sound of it.
I agree. The other problem I have, of course, is the belt buckle and the cut
a
of
little
the
low, right?
yeah, and the cut of the briefs. But if they were planning to over time, phase out the briefs, make it into like a red portion of the belt and stream it down, then I'd have probably been fine with it.
Yeah.
But they never even had that chance.
I love the outfit that he's wearing for the Crisis show.
The Kingdom Come outfit, yeah.
Oh, that's an awesome outfit.
In the novelization, we find out that Lex actually has orchestrated all of these heists to go down at the time where he's making the very low-key museum heist of the kryptonite, So he's orchestrated all this, and he actually told these criminals, don't just fly away in the helicopter yet, set up the Tommy gun and spend a time, they're like, well, it doesn't seem logical, but I guess we should do it if this mastermind is everything else he said has worked, so they're doing this. But this scene right here, this save from Superman, again, I think it's a glorious plus to this movie that he never throws a single punch in this film. That's a wonderful testament to the movie, but these kinds of saves, like when he saves the security guards here, it's just wonderful. And the smile, I'll just mention it right now because it's so quick that I want us to be able to catch it. But when the guy pulls out a gun and shoots him in the eyeball, the great eyeball scene, you look at Brandon Routh, he looks down and he looks up at the guy and there's this smile in his face, which is like, that's so Superman. That is so like, there's the fun of it again. It's so perfect.
Yeah, but that's going to be another place where I want to make a comment. Owen Lister's waiting for it.
Oh, bouncing bullets?
Well, no, not specifically.
See, I'm not so much
the
into
whole
the
eye thing. It's the whole eye thing.
Look at the fear in there. Oh, this is just the timing in this movie is really good too.
It is
because Superman saves, but they let you have enough moments in there to really think. This, despite logic, will he get there in time?
This is very well shot. I do like this because you're absolutely right. It's a great way to show the super speed.
Yeah.
Okay. Bouncing bullets. I don't know enough about ballistics to get picky about that.
I don't think so much about the science of it, but that's just because I'm not a very science-minded person.
But here's where I have a problem. Okay. The whole eye thing. You're going to tell me that firing a bullet this close and he doesn't even blink.
Isn't that so cool? That's so
but here's my
awesome.
Well, he is wearing contacts. So.
Well, yeah. Good.
Look at this right here. Here it is.
There.
Boom. Here and then. Right on.
Yeah, that is good.
That's so perfect.
But this is the same guy who had trouble stopping the plane because of the lower power that you were saying and everything, and he hasn't built up his power yet.
Well, I guess maybe by now he has. I forget exactly.
When Christopher Reeve had an explosion go off in front of his face, he had to shield his face. Do you remember that from Superman 2?
Yeah, that's right. And well, you also had George Reeve ducking at guns being thrown at him. So,
So I kind of have a problem with. Although you're right, it is cool. I'm not going to pick it apart too much, but it has bothered me all this time.
I can see how it would bother somebody who does look at the specifics like that. That's something where I'm perfectly happy just doing the suspension of disbelief kind of thing. But I can see how it would bother somebody who really looks at it closely. Yeah.
I still think he should have at least blinked and shaken it off and then given the smile. I think that would have been just as dramatic.
Or he could have blinked and caught it with his eyelid.
That might have actually been pretty cool too. Yeah, you're probably right about that, Al.
I like here's the famous
Addis Ababa.
Addis Ababa. Yeah, I'm glad you caught that. Yeah.
We're about to have the iconic shot anyway of him with the car above his head,
right?
Which I like because it's of course a reference to the first comic book cover of Superman in the Action Comics where he's shaking, and in that comic he's shaking the car, shaking the gangsters out of the car. So he's shaking the baggage out of the car, and it shows how much the character has developed. To now we see that same scene, that same pose, but he's lifting it to save, and it's more of the Atlas imagery too, lifting us above his shoulders, lifting us up. Lifting us up higher and so forth. Really love that you don't even see him until that's so cool.
And you see it from her point of view. That's what you would see if you were the one being saved.
Yeah, exactly. And I like later that we find out poor Kitty, the brakes were supposed to pretend to be cut.
Yeah, well, that's just Lex.
Yeah, exactly. That smile.
That'd make it look good.
He said, I think he says, a man always knows when a woman's faking. It's a line I think he says, actually. Parker Posey's so great. This is so great. This is so Superman.
She does have a kind of a Miss Tessmacher thing going on here.
Yeah,
she?
Absolutely. Love those flip phones.
I want to put this. What about Parker Posey as Lois?
Huh.
I could see her doing it.
I
Sure.
could probably see that. Yeah, good point. Good, never thought of it myself, but yeah, I could probably see that. I like how too they Lois talks about it a number of different times, and it's a reference too from the Reeve films. But I think Kitty even says it something about how warm he is in person, or the warmth that comes off of him.
You never hear a bad word about the guy.
Brandon Routh. Oh yeah. I was talking about Superman himself, like literal warmth. But yeah, you're right. Brandon Routh. Okay. Yeah. I go for that too. Yeah, you're right.
Owen Lister challenged me and said, "Are you asking for realism in a Superman movie?" And I said, "No, not realism, verisimilitude." I don't think Donner would have had the eye thing. I think he would have gone with my take on it.
Addis Ababa.
There we go.
Are we going to Addis Ababa, Mr. Luthor?
What do you think they're wearing in Addis Ababa? I think it's a burnous.
Excuse me. But see, like, look what Kitty's wearing. That's totally out of the 40s-ish, style or whatever.
Yeah, but I hate her hair.
The curly tight kinks there.
It's too frizzy. When she was playing the maid, her hair looked really nice. Now, I mean, since then, it's got this mop, which I can't stand.
I think there's something to be said for both the fact that both she and Lex are wearing wigs all the time. Always disguising themselves, always hiding themselves.
Yeah, good point. And the real man has self-control and knows when to say goodnight. Yep. There you go. Like that sort of solid good night. Kind but firm, and then leaves. Oh, I love this news montage. I love that.
And did you catch there's that verisimilitude I'm looking for. He catches the person by, swooping down, slowing the descent. And then
Yep. And slowly back up. We get Gotham's TV in here as well, or somebody mentions Gotham, I remember.
Yeah.
Gotham.
Metropolis, Houston, Gotham, yeah.
I love the fire here. Here it is. Hi.
Of course, you can't really put out a fire like that, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, hopefully there was no one left in that building, because otherwise they suffocated.
I didn't know I had Bill Nye and
No, but he's got X-ray vision, so he would know that there was no one in there. So
yeah, I think I missed it before, but I like here it's a plane, it's a bird or whatever. But before I forgot when they were doing the big powwow and Perry was giving all the news assignments, and he said, Superman, does he still stand for truth, justice, all that stuff?
Yeah.
And it bothered me the first time I heard it, because I'm like, why are people so reticent to say American way anymore? What's so funny about truth, justice, and the American way, as the great comic book says. But I also kind of like it with the questions that this film is asking. The idea that I've done Superman. The question of is there still place for truth, justice, the American way in the world? So you would have a Perry at this point who's like can't even bring himself to say it. It kind of fitting with the themes. Saving this hooker, a little bit of jealousy going on there.
Like that. No one's seen Lex since his 5th appeal.
Yeah. I like this little secret aside conversation that he and Clark have here about Lex. What does he say? Like, imagine how pissed off that makes Superman. Here it is.
Now this is where I think they did a great job of not going so far into verisimilitude that they would have broken things. Because if you start digging into the law and how does Superman show up and, give testimony when, what is his legal standing and what is his identity? And does Superman have a social security number? I mean, it's better that they didn't cover that too much.
There are elements, like I remember in John Byrne and stuff like that, where the government does officially deputize him as an agent or something like that. I mean, the principle is he's not a vigilante like Batman, but you're right. It doesn't go too far into the details of that, which would be kind of hairy to iron out.
Yeah, because then you would turn it into a whole different type of show. Yeah. It would be so boring to watch.
Like little boy Jason sees
he's figured it out.
Yep. Like he reaches for his inhaler.
Yeah. And he does have that. Yeah. Don't give me away, kid.
Yeah. Swell.
Okay, I love that staircase.
Oh yeah. That whole room is pretty awesome.
It would be a great to have that yacht.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
A place for all my books.
I like that he's sitting there.
Put a big screen TV at the end. Whoa.
I like that Lex is there smelling the map. Like he's so obsessed with land. And a lot of people said, that's so stupid, the whole real estate scheme from Superman 1. Why you got to bring that? And again, I say you don't understand the themes of the movie. It's about where is your place, where is your land. It actually fits perfectly into the story. Look at that, just staring her right down.
That's what you get your rock.
He's quite alpha with her. And these, you get a little bit more of personality from his gang there. These are his prison buddies that he had surrounding him in prison. He's kind of guards, in the prison life and everything. And you do get more of their individual personalities in the novelization and in the prequel comics, I think, a bit as well.
One thing I do feel is missing here with all the other callbacks. What happened to Otis?
Yeah, or Miss Tessmacher, for that matter. Yeah.
She's enchanted with her mom.
There you go. That's right. Reformed
that
and
probably is true. That actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
In Hackensack, New Jersey.
That's it, Hackensack.
Okay. Yeah.
God,
Well,
of course, with the foreshadowing, knowing what happens. I hate that scene when it happens. Ugh.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's a big deal. It's powerful. But yeah. We get a little bit. This is a nice little way of getting some more specifics about Superman's powers for those who might not have seen the Donner movies, getting a little aside conversation between Richard and Lois. I'm going to slip away and grab a soda for a second, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Grab me one too, would you?
Making a tab.
Yeah.
I can grab you a soda, sweetie.
Boom.
Well, it's like we're 5 feet apart. He can't just ask me.
Well, since the professor was getting up.
Well, heck, since he's got up, I'm going to go visit the little knitter room.
I love the goofy waves.
Playing it off nicely. Now this, we'll talk about this. There's so many nostalgic elements that are so delightfully sad. I mean, but again, it breaks up the Lois Superman relationship in a way it shouldn't. But this whole rooftop reunion between the two of them that we're about to see,
Mm-hmm.
I like this moment where he's about to tell her too. He just had a second there where he's about to say something, but he puts his glasses back on.
And she's back to smoking. That's another good callback.
Yeah. And I love how he makes his presence known by blowing out her lighter in a second. Yeah.
And I like the musical cues there again. Can you read my mind?
Yep. Yeah, and this whole piece of music that plays when he takes her flying is really beautiful because it takes its cue from that musical note, that moment. It's the name of the song on the soundtrack is "How Could You Leave Us?"
Yeah,
and man, it's powerful and sad, but it's really deep. Oh, look at that rooftop. That's just glorious.
I know. I don't know if I could go up there though with my fear of heights. I literally, if I were standing where she is, that close to the edge, if I wasn't already crippled, my legs would be like jelly.
You really shouldn't smoke, Miss Lane. Call back lines.
Right.
And it's like, again, this is this scene is so well written for a couple in this situation, but it's so heartbreaking to see Superman and Lois in this situation because they should never be here,
Mm-hmm.
But you got little callbacks, like people are asking a lot of questions. It's only fair that I answer them, We are about to see the first of a series of shots of Lois Lane barefoot. She's going to take off her...
Oh,
I know Al loves that. She's going to take off her shoes. And we do see a repetition of shots throughout the film of her barefoot, which speaks to the grounded nature of her, right? And what she's there to do for Superman and what the Lois role is in his life, grounding the man who could fly,
I thought you were going to suggest that Bryan Singer has a fetish like
Al.
I
was going to say that Bryan Singer got my notes. Please have her take her shoes off at least a couple times.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that line there. How could you leave us? That's so... The world doesn't need a savior. And I like his answer.
Well, actually, you did need one when the plane started falling.
Yeah.
And that's what gets at the conflict, though, for Superman, too. Where you've got that... This doesn't contextualize it so much with Jonathan Kent, but you're right, Troy. There's the conflict of, am I here to be above them and lead them, or am I here to be among them? And there's got to be a resolution of the two sides, and this plays at the conflict here because she's always what had helped ground him. Lois is what had helped keep him among the people. You drew the correlation, Troy, but what she kind of does a lot of what Jonathan Kent used to do in his life, and that's absolutely true. Yeah. But now, if he can't be with her, how is that going to work? And I like his answer here that he gives her.
Does he have an S on the back of his tape? I didn't think so.
It's one of the things I don't care for in the costume.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, stop drooling, Al.
No. You're absolutely right, Professor. I never really caught that before, but that's clearly the symbolism for grounding him.
Yeah. I like the way even she touches his arm just sort of tentatively, again. She doesn't grip him, yet. She's just kind of gently puts her hand there. I love this. Yeah. Richard takes me up all the time. Not like this.
Mine's bigger than his.
I didn't even realize they were flying. That's what's so funny.
Yeah, exactly. And that hug. It's beautiful cinematography too here. I would love a framed picture of them together in front of the Daily Planet globe right there. I would hang. There's so many shots. You could just pause this film and I'd hang that on my wall. I mean, the cinematography is that gorgeous consistently through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the blocking and everything. It's just really something.
As long as she doesn't try to sing.
Right.
Right.
Can you read my mind?
Yeah, or the spoken word version of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Here I am holding hands with a god.
I like what he says here. You say the world doesn't need a savior, but every day I hear a world crying out for one.
That really does put it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, big time.
In a way, so she grounds him when she says the world doesn't need a savior. I don't need a savior, but he needs to get her up so she can see from a different perspective.
Exactly.
Get out of where you're at
Mm-hmm.
and look, be more objective, and you'll realize you kind of do need saving.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that he takes her back. She's almost kind of back in her relationship with him, or back into her feelings with him, until she sees her home with Richard, you know. This music right here, though, with that sort of choral, oh my gosh, that is just so beautiful.
But see, that brings up another problematic aspect to it. He can't take her away from that.
Exactly.
She's got a life there.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, I mean, I suppose if they're going with, well, it's actually Superman's child, then okay, fine. But if, as originally written, she's with Richard and that's his child.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. That's one of the things, like the movie stops right where it has to stop. If it went one moment more, pretty much, we'd have some real problems with Superman's reaction to this whole thing. Because people trying to say, oh, it's deadbeat dad Superman. No, it's not. He doesn't know he's a dad right now. He doesn't know at all right now. Now, when he knows, we have to have certain things from him, and that's when the film stops right where it can't go any farther. So I was always baffled as to what they thought they might do for a sequel.
Yeah.
Oh, that music. That shot going right up the planet, too. That's just gorgeous. That's some wonderful filmmaking visuals.
I think it's interesting that as they're flying up, he keeps his back to the letter so she doesn't accidentally get hit by anything.
Oh, nice. I think about that.
And I just love how the genetic notes of John Williams are all over this film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Another practical matter that I just realized. In story, she takes off her shoes because otherwise she almost certainly would have dropped them while they were flying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I love that almost kiss. Again, this is horrible. Like I said, it's the disconnect. I hate that this is being done with Superman and Lois here, but the writer in me cannot help but to just be in awe over such a well-written love triangle and these human moments too, you know?
And I'll give them some pointers. I'll give them some points for the fact that they don't actually kiss.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. They don't. And what's not so cool about this is that you do get the sense, that I'm always around. You do get the sense here, which again is not something Superman would ever do, that he's kind of trying to woo her away from Richard. Now, to his knowledge, this is the man that she's had a child with and everything. Superman wouldn't do that, right? But you do get the sense that he's kind of trying for her a little bit here. But from the story's sake, it does make perfect sense. Again, not for Superman, but from the story, it makes perfect sense later when he kind of has his moment of realization that I don't have a place in that like I used to. I've got a place, but just not that like I used to.
You know what my issue is? Like, she's supposed to be engaged or whatever with this other fellow. Why did she almost kiss Superman?
Exactly. Yeah, that's part of it too. Exactly.
So, in the context of the way they actually did do this movie, does she know that? That
I think
Clark,
she does.
Okay.
That Jason is actually Superman's son. I think you could make an argument either way. But when they're on the boat and Lex says, "Whose son is that?" When he reacts a little bit to the kryptonite, you know, I think she. I don't think she knows if he'll ever actually have his abilities or not. But I would argue that she does. But we'll see.
Which brings up a whole other, series of questions. Okay, fine. So she doesn't tell him that this is his son, and she's keeping it from him, and it's all kinds of problems that brings up.
That's my most central issue with the movie as a Superman film is the love triangle that it does with Superman and Lois. It just so many problems, like you say, ripple out of that just are not fitting with an iconic Superman story.
I do actually like Fan Man's take on it, how they could have done it differently, and this was all just a bad dream that he's having because he's been exposed to kryptonite. And
yeah, I'd be on board with that. because Routh just deserves to play the character. I'm as thrilled as I am that he's going to be in the suit again for the CW crossover. I think it's really sad and pathetic that the only other chance he gets to wear it is in a CW crossover where it's just his horrible writing and everything that they've shown to be doing now,
Yeah. And my fear is that they're going to, kill him off in a way similar to the Earth 2 Superman in the original. Yeah.
I like this here. It's like someone's been in my home.
Yeah. And they've taken, this is his heritage. This is his, because he said, well, at least I'm above them. At least I'm Jor-El's mission. I'm here. But then Lex just took that from him. Lex just took his alien heritage from him too. So this is a big deal. Gonna see some feet again here in a moment now. Calm down.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm ready. Thanks for the warning. There we go. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Oh, gosh. So weird. I do love that dress, though. Again, very kind of retro chic. And her hair, the way it's done, too. Very 40s.
She looks good.
Yeah.
She just doesn't look like Lois.
Yeah. So she's just there tracking down the blackout, and she finally traced it back to the source. I really like the little boy playing Jason. You can think what you want to about his character and like whatever, but the boy does a great job of being this cute little, maybe it's the dad in me, but he's just adorable. Like I just want to protect him.
Something else since because he looks.
Maybe.
He's on Young and the Restless.
Oh, really?
Or he's on some soap opera, and he's got like a weird name like
Tristan Lake LeBeau.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm on Amazon, so you can see the characters of the actors. Are we trespassing? No. Yes. I love, too, the moment that she realizes whose ship it is, and the music cue and the danger. And again, it's just the danger that Kevin Spacey brings to the role, too. It really shows forth.
Well, at least she didn't just leave the kid in the car.
Exactly.
No, she just brought him on Lex Luthor's boat. He'd have been better off left in the
car. Yeah, he's on Young and the Restless, and he's playing the role of Reed Hellstrom.
Ah.
Gotta love soap opera.
Very soap operatic name, yeah.
Is that Carmen?
I'm trespassing, but I'm going to call out and see if there's anyone here.
I know, right? I think that is the opera Carmen, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. And then, the music and everything, that's freaky. The faceless wigs, that's crazy freaky.
Those are really good wigs.
Well, he's Mr. Weirdags.
Somebody's having putting his Christmas list, I guess.
I was wondering. Oh, I love this with the toothbrush in his mouth and everything too. But look how dangerous he still looks, even as ridiculous as he looks. He's there, but yet still you're terrified of him.
Yeah. You're bald.
Out of the mouths of babes.
It's such a kid thing to do.
Thanks for pointing that out. I had no idea.
It always amazes me how neatly these guys on TV and movies can brush their teeth. It's like, I can never brush my teeth that neatly.
I know, I got slobber and all kind of stuff. Yeah. Toothpaste running down my chin.
Have you ever seen the movie What About Bob?
Oh, yeah.
At the very beginning when he's brushing his teeth and he starts brushing his tongue and everything like that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of bizarre. It is kind of bizarre.
You don't brush your tongue?
No, I do. I'm just saying you never really see that on.
Oh, yeah. It's something you'll see done on film. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite article. I like the interplay between the two of them, because this is one thing that the writing got right with Lois, that she's a good verbal sparring partner with Lex here, you know,
Yeah.
and that he's so good at trying to intimidate. You see the way he interacts with Kitty, and he's trying to use those same tactics with Lois, but she's not having any.
Right.
She's playing him nicely.
Turn the boat around, get a cab for my son, then I don't care what you do.
Yeah, yeah. Time to kill. Look at
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's menacing. I like it when they find out that her password is Superman. Now this is again that larger than life stuff. I like the imagery when Lex is putting this sort of doomsday plan into operation, you know.
Mohammed wants to know if they're doing memes.
No, I won't be doing memes tonight. I'm sorry, I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. I apologize. I meant to do that, but I didn't. But yeah, memes get a little bit crazy, and usually has my name associated with things that it ought not to be coming up with in Twitter or Google searches. So I'm gonna hit a kibosh on memes tonight. But yeah, I apologize. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. So you got I like the showing through the maps again, the idea of the real estate.
What gets me is he's got this map and he must have some actual impression about what form that landmass is going to take.
Mm-hmm.
How does he come up with that? Because it should be pretty, random.
Again, it doesn't come out. Well, it does say in the novelization. See, the crystals that he's stolen has given him a lot of information about Krypton, and the part of land specifically that he's wanting to recreate is that Valley of the Gods from Krypton. So he does know from his research. But again, you're right; it's not shown in the movie, so it does leave a sort of a hole right there in the film. You have to read the book to find it out, which isn't good. But
I said, in the first film, he was trying to take out the West Coast. Now he's taking out the East Coast and in the middle, and everything pretty much.
Yep.
Including Hackensack, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got against New Jersey? Well, okay, never mind. It's New Jersey.
Yeah, enough said. Yeah, I've been to New Jersey. It's not much to look at.
Not the prettiest state to drive through on the interstate, but and like you got Kitty and her horror at it, just as Tessmacher would have had.
Right.
I do love this little interplay. Oh, that's terrifying, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he plays it so much more menacing than Hackman did.
I find the kid's reaction to him interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't as scared as you'd think a kid would be. He's just like, the heck,
Yeah.
man?
Yeah. He thinks it's a clown, a big bald guy.
Yeah.
And here, like, watch her reaction. Like, it's almost like she knows or something. I don't know. But again, you could argue it either way. This is just my kind of take on it.
The kid looks mesmerized by that green thing.
No, now he's feeling not
The
great.
effect of the kryptonite, yeah.
Yeah. Now he's feeling a little bit sick.
Yeah. And she's gripping him tightly and doesn't flinch. Are you sure? Spacey, say what you want about him. He is a damn fine Luthor. I mean, he just nailed the part.
He's like, "Why are you putting that green thing by my face?"
I know.
Okay, that doesn't show anything. You flick something at somebody, they're gonna flinch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not, on the nose. But...
And Kitty has realized just how deranged he really is.
Yep. Yep. How horrifying. And this is all good. This is part of her character development because she plays a key role here in the end, as we'll see, in helping things along with the plans to be thwarted and whatnot. This guy's terrifying. Something about his face how he can sort of smile and grimace at the same time. Like, he's a great actor for this kind of role. And those eyes pierce even before you see the tattoo on the back of his head.
I wonder if there's some special meaning behind the name of the boat, the Gertrude.
That was her name. Yeah.
Yeah, the old lady.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Okay.
Noel Neal's character. I like that sort of singing that it does. So you can see it's taking the effect of the kryptonite onto itself. Taking on the attributes, rather.
Right.
Load the torpedo.
Basically, yeah.
You know, again, look at those colors. I remember thinking in the theater at the time that this seemed a lot more muted than some of the things that come before, but look at how much darker everything is nowadays. This is bright and vivid color, you know, compared to the crap that comes in the theater today.
Okay, I also don't like the whole finger wag thing. That's too Jurassic Park, you know.
It is a little Jurassic Park. I didn't think about
And
that.
it's kind of dumb. I can't imagine anyone actually having that in real life.
Nice. Use the correct frame and everything.
You can't touch them to your destiny.
And this guy's so terrifying, especially in how he goes over and plays piano with the boy. You know, it's just like it's like a cat playing with a mouse before, you know, killing it or something. It's really terrifying.
I mean, all I said was don't let him leave the room. Didn't say he couldn't walk around the room.
Yeah, yeah.
Heart and soul.
And he sits down and starts playing too. But again, it's just the dad in me. I think the boy's so adorable, especially when he starts playing. His little feet start kicking. I'm like, aw. And it's also in the payoff to that guy's menace is when he actually is coming after her and he's like choosing the weapon he wants to kill her with and stuff, you know, from the shelf. It's And perfect cover for her to try and send that fax off, which, you know, 2006, a fax, right?
You'd be surprised how many people still use fax.
Maybe it's still, is it still something that should be used on a ship? Or I don't know anything about maritime communication or anything, but maybe that travels better than internet. I don't know. Probably speaking complete and total nonsense.
I can't even say anything about that. I just know that some businesses and bureaucracies still use fax.
Yeah.
It's the only method they'll accept for certain things. And
Oh, really?
be up the wall.
Huh. Yeah.
That is a pretty cool tattoo.
Thinking about hitting the parlor tomorrow?
No.
I'm thinking creepy, he's thinking cool.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a whole litany of reasons why I would never get a tattoo.
You couldn't get a nice Klingon face in the back there?
Not least of which Nanette is not into tattoos.
Oh, gotcha.
But I'm also a bleeder, and so there's a lot of reasons not to get a tattoo.
Yeah.
Darn, I was just picturing a big old bat laugh on the back of his head.
Now, if I'm going to have a batleth on me, it's going to be functional.
There you go. I like that music too. It almost reminds me a little bit of the Goonies soundtrack. I don't know why, but just that crossing the line between playful and terror, you know, or real threat. The repetition of those da, 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 da. And again, that's kind of creation-like imagery, you know.
Yeah,
I like his eyes closing during it. It's really well done. And the seed of the island planting in there. They were actually setting up a sequel that leaks and everything have taught you it was probably going to end up being Brainiac, but the this island that Superman ends up launching into space to orbit Earth is called New Krypton. And that, like, the kryptonite from there was going to end up calling out to Brainiac or something like that. Cool ideas, but again, we'll talk about towards the end how it would have been difficult to continue this story as written. I do love another great rescue scene, though, is Superman rescuing the city. You know, he's flying out to rescue Lois, but then he sees the tremor coming towards Metropolis, and he flies back, and I love it. We don't need to see people really dying, actually, because, you know, that's what happens in real life. It's not funny and it's not fun. People die and it's black. This is a freaking Superman movie. We don't need to see that. We need to see him swoop in and save them at the last moment and inspire them. Oh, terrifying. I do like, you know, like I said, it's don't like what it did to the Superman mythos, but in terms of this story itself, I think making him Superman's son was the right move, just in terms of this story's cohesion, but not the right move for the Superman story in general. But it echoes the themes of it more nicely. Oh, poor kid, the terror. And this is a great, you really see him building up to the moment where he can push that piano, you know. The asthma in this moment of... Bam!
Like, don't you touch my mother.
I know, exactly. I love that. I really do love that.
Dead.
Yep. Just that arms out. Still, like, didn't even know what he did. Just reacted, you know.
I think I'll use my inhaler now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need this thing anymore.
That makes me think that maybe she was forcing illnesses on him that he didn't really have, like needing an inhaler and all that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I actually was starting to think that too. I know where she's getting that from. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't think about that. That's interesting.
And especially when he looked at the inhaler, like, I don't need this. So
yeah, a little.
Yeah, that's a good. Oh, yeah.
A little subconscious, you know, Munchausen by proxy.
Oh, I never thought of that. That's really intriguing. Yeah, I like that. I like this. Can you give mommy a hand?
Right.
it's like, I think she wanted him to be weak and not be
Exactly.
like his dad, who is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if I portray him as being weak, if I make him think he's weak, he's not the son of Superman.
Right. But again, that gets into the whole, you know, she knew the whole time and kept it from everyone. And yeah, that's a whole bunch of problems that brings up.
The film doesn't really answer it definitively, but you can definitely make that case. I think it's fascinating. I like Lex's reaction here. Oh, it's time to go.
He got hit with the piano.
Then you see the recognition when it hits his face. That's great.
Yeah, that pantry's going to hold him.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Jimmy.
But now everything's suddenly working again.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And then the facts come.
Green Lion Girl is asking, when is the next live stream? Because Green Lion Girl has to go.
Oh, you guys are doing one when?
Tuesday night.
Oh, so we're doing the Christmas Carol on the Catholic Bible Geek channel Sunday night. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in talking about Stave 1 of the Christmas Carol, you can go over to my Catholic Bible Geek channel. I don't know if I put the link to that in the chat. I don't believe I did. Let me drop that in the chat here, the link to my Catholic Bible Geek channel, because that is where we'll be doing that music.
So Al, is there a rewatch tomorrow?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you guys doing one? I didn't think about that.
Well,
trying to
kind of throw everything got like a wrench thrown into it this week.
That's right. Yeah, because I was going to do Saturday, but then didn't do it. All right, there's the link to my Catholic Bible Geek channel. I'll let them decide whether or not. Oh, that music! We got Superman coming to save the day. It's perfect.
Here I come to save the day.
Yeah, yeah, but we're having a little bit of problem here.
What's that?
No, Superman is.
Oh yeah, okay.
Problem here.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
It's like, whoa, what was that?
there's something wrong here.
And he realizes he's got to go save the people in the city. And I just love how he takes care of it too. Like the scene when the shattered glass is falling on the crowd, and he turns it into sand with his heat vision. That's just so he would know that to do that, and he would take care of those little details, you know. This is it's a hard scene to watch almost. Them stuck in the kitchen there, pantry there, because especially it really takes you to the 11th hour, the last moment they could possibly wait for before they're saved, which I like from a story standpoint. But
well, there's something else too. What's going through her head at that moment? Yeah, I really do need a savior.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Yeah. And who first comes to save them is big too. We'll talk about that when it happens. I like that, seeing the city kind of tremor a little bit with it doesn't just all fall down. You just see it.
Yeah.
Jimmy acting like he thought of that.
Yeah, but at least the facts went through.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're all like, now what?
Yeah, I know, the calm before the storm. I like that, just being able to see something coming. But and see, they had to,
I'm not asleep, Melissa. No,
they had to play it carefully here, because Snyder didn't give a crap. He said he was giving people like 9/11 traumatic flashbacks in the theater for Man of Steel, but Singer realized that he's going to have a traumatic event happen to a city. He can't elicit 9/11 with the visuals, and yet he still has to make it seem like something, a real threat, and then have Superman save it and have all the residents be there. So I think that was done very carefully.
Yeah.
And the Atlas imagery up here is perfect. Right in the nick of time.
And again,
right from a car.
Yep.
Yes, but again, a deceleration and then puts him down on the ground, not just catching him.
Yeah.
Dead stop.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Love little details like this too, like the cigar in the manhole and the gas. I mean, it really does show how specific the salvation needs to be to really save the city. It can't just be flying in, hits some people. All right, cool, I'm back out.
Okay, I wasn't quite sure why he was using his heat vision against those buildings.
The glass was falling.
The glass was falling down.
And he couldn't just stop all the glass.
Yeah.
And if he'd blown it, it would have just blown to somewhere else.
Yeah. The visuals there are just so impressive too, especially when the fire starts going through the tunnels.
But you were talking about tomorrow night, because suddenly it got open. We were talking about about the fact that Troy couldn't do Die Hard when we originally were planning it. So we might do it tomorrow night.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. Just go ahead and figure out or announce whatever you want to announce. Yeah, but that's cool. And this is, might be this is a kind of a throwback too to Superman 1 when he's down in the tunnels and Lex's fire and everything, got a little bit of a reference to that imagery.
Right. The scene that we only get now in the special edition because it wasn't in the theatrical release.
And there goes the globe.
Yep. And that's really the, it's not the culmination of the imagery, but it's really the Atlas imagery starting to come home with him lifting up the globe, which is so beautiful.
Right.
Why is there a water tower on top of that building?
I don't know the exact answer, but I've heard a lot of tall buildings actually do have water towers as backup or supplements and stuff.
No, it's for the sprinkler system because
okay.
Because you need a reservoir up there. It's that water all needs to be pumped up.
Gotcha. Okay.
And in an emergency, you need a reservoir up there.
I learned something new. Love this. Right in the nick of time, too. It's so perfect. Bam.
Taking the direct route.
And I love that the music stops as soon as he catches it. And then it comes back in completely altered because the danger's gone now. You know,
I love the very, very smooth Great Caesar's Ghost right there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not played for laughs.
Yep.
It's honestly how he reacts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What I always think is stupid is that someone says, watch out, and you just look up and stand there. It's like, move out of the way. Why are you still standing there?
Right. I like Jimmy just staring down at his, because these are pictures that he took a million times before, but it's really, you know, it's all back.
He's like, that's the pick.
Yeah.
That's what I'll be remembered for.
That's going on the cover tomorrow.
No, he's going to get a Pulitzer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever it is the award is for great photography like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I think they have a Pulitzer Prize for photojournalism.
Okay, then that's what he's going to get.
And it really is an ingenious evil plan, you know. Let's create a whole land in which Superman is powerless to come and get me on, you know.
Yeah.
Now you're expecting Superman to save them, right? Okay, he's finished saving the city. Surely now he's gone back out to the water to save them. Oh, that's right. The whole yacht cracks open. I forgot about this part.
Yeah, it gets something comes up in it, right?
Yeah, bisects it. Yeah.
But also you don't get to find out that yeah, it's great that you created a Kryptonian landmass that you know is harmful to Superman, but you stay there long enough and you're going to get cancer too.
Yeah, yeah. Kryptonite's effects on humans long term. So is he going to open it? What's going to happen? But it's Richard that comes to save them. And like she says, how did you get here? How'd you find us? And he says, I flew. You know, this is again, and in the novelization, it makes more sense too, that when you see that Richard really does look up to Superman, it's kind of inspired by him. You know, this is humanity doing what they can to be heroes as well. They can't fly through the sky like that, but he can take a plane. You know, you can go and do what you can do.
When you mentioned that point, though, that brings up a whole other element. Is she just in love with the Superman she sees in him?
Interesting. Yeah. I never thought of that. You said brings up a whole other element as I saw the element of kryptonite rising up through the yacht.
that was pretty good, wasn't it?
That was good. I didn't think about that. That's interesting, though. I like that.
Such a beautiful yacht, all messed up.
It's being raised up. They're not going to drown. Oh, well, maybe not.
Yep, there you go. And they fall down. And this is, I mean, it's, you know, you've got a family here. You've got a young child. And this scene right here where and it starts to fill up with water. It's hard to watch because you're again watching this with like the Donner Superman films in mind. Superman should be there right now. He should be saving them. You know that it's going to fall, but he's going to catch them right before they hit the water. But I like the fact that this scene, and again, this is part of this movie, examining this question: is there room for Superman in this fictional universe, or even in our world as a viable character? Truth, justice, and the American way. Is there room for this in our world today, in our post 9/11, and all of the darkness and all of the things we have today? And I like to answer that. It lets this scene go to the very last moment. I mean, we see the water's filling up. She gets bonked on the head at one point. I mean, just like they're all but dead. And then I'm talking about it now so we can just kind of see it when the moment happens. The water really, it takes over, subsumes them. They're sinking. And the music even quiets down and we just see Richard's face sinking. And you're like, oh my gosh. And I remember in the theater even thinking, are they really going to die there? Like, is this where this is going? Because the tone is so different in this scene with this danger. But then you have that moment, you feel Superman's boots smack the thing, and then you've got that John Williams score again. And it tells you, it's like, no, there's always hope for salvation. There's always hope for a hero. There's always room for hope and truth, justice, and the American way. It's never too dark for that, ever, 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 no matter what one thing after other happens. And it's just a beautiful testament to that fact. It's just a wonderful statement that the film makes. I like. And poor Richard holding them all up there, just doing the best he can for his family. I like that, the hand, too. And I mean, the music is telling you, nope, this is it. The music is not leading to any moment, you know, and it fades on out.
I can't imagine even being in a situation like that. I'd be
I know. I know. See how long it's taking? I mean, you really just sit with this for a while and then. Oh. And the hands on the side and then lifting them out. Lifting them out of the water. And Richard knows. As soon as he sees that, he knows they're saved. You know, it's glorious. I love that shot of him pulling them out of the water. It's just so wonderful. Dun, da, da. Oh. I have just got goosebumps all over.
One of the best movie themes of all time.
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Now look at this. Here we have the Sistine Chapel. He's got to stop holding on himself to give his hand to the hero there.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got to let go in order to be saved. You know, this is part of it here. And here we have God reaching out to Adam, you know, and the first family there, so to speak. You know, you've got that imagery there. So you've got the Father as well. We've got the Son. We've had the Moses imagery. We've had the Atlas. We'll get the Apollo in a bit.
And did you catch the cooperation between them? Have you got them? Yeah, I've got them.
Exactly.
Great. Then I can let go of this.
Yeah. He can't do it all by himself. He needs them. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see him lift their plane off here again. Just a little bit of lifting. And he uses his X-ray vision again on her, but this time it's really to see if she's okay.
Okay, but how was Richard able to see what he was doing?
He wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't. He
looked at him looking at Lois.
Yeah.
Oh, because he falls down the path of her body. I'm like, how can you do that?
I think that's where there's a little awkward nature to his stare there. Yeah, like, really, dude? Now you're.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's why it's necessary for him to say, "Oh, she'll be fine." Kind of lets him know. Yep, no broken bones.
I wasn't ogling.
Yeah, right.
No lung cancer yet.
Right. Exactly.
I love the anger you see in his face, and he's landing, touching ground here. He's ready for business, and this is the Valley of the God. This is his land that Lex has taken from him. Lex has taken. He can't have Earth in his mind. He doesn't think he's, you know, he can be one of them, at least, you know, in the context of this story right now, because he's been kind of put aside by Lois there. But now Lex has even taken his heritage here. This is a big deal. And as you said, Al, this, I don't say this lightly. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be blasphemous. You guys know I'm a faithful Christian, faithful Catholic. But I really think this scene, it affects me in much the same way that the Passion of the Christ scene affects me in the end. I mean, this is your, you know, it's a fictional character. It's not an actual deity. Of course, we know that and everything. But the idea is you've got, this is your salvation. This is your hero, the one that you look up to, the one that you're inspired by, and you're seeing them undergo this horrible, not just a little beatdown. I mean, this is a humiliating prison yard, brutal beatdown. It really is degrading. Lacks that human touch. Again, the idea of he's not a human. You got the sweat showing that the kryptonite's affecting him.
So now, did the rest of the crystals go down with the ship?
What's that?
Did the rest of those crystals go down with the ship? Because
no, he has
pulling them up, you know, taking them all.
Yeah, he's got. You'll see that in a minute. He's got them rolled up in a cloth. That we'll see in a little bit. Now here we go. She comes to, and she knows the plan. She knows the kryptonites that's there, and she's convinces him we have to go back. Frail as we are, we have to follow that inspiration and go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
We have to go back to the island. Wait a minute, wrong show.
We have to go back to save Luke.
There you go.
No, so he doesn't even ask why they have to go back. He just says,
Yeah.
okay.
He knows it. But see, that's the thing. When as hard as this is to watch, and I like that Lex is the final blow. Lex takes that shiv, that prison yard shank, or what is it called, a shiv or something, and gets him in the back, and that's into the side. Very Christ-like wound. It's it's in the back, but still, it's the idea of the side, the final piercing to the side. And he falls into the water. And I'm going to kind of talk about it now so we can see here it is going on. But as he's falling and as he himself is having his mortal moment in the water, you hear that the voice of Jor-El saying, they can be a great people, Kal-El. They wish to be. They only lack the light to show them the way. And then it says, your leadership will inspire them. Yeah. And then what do we see? We see Richard, Lois, and them flying back. His leadership has inspired them to come back and be part of the heroes there.
Yeah, this is hard.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you. This is basically what they've been doing to Superman ever since.
Yeah. In a way, you're right. But the difference here, you're right, because this hurts so much because this is a character that I love. Problems with this movie notwithstanding, this is my Superman in terms of the way he's portrayed and stuff. And I'm seeing him go through this. And you're absolutely right. This is how I feel watching Zack Snyder, watching the writers, Bendis, watching anybody who touches this character now, thinking they have to rough him up, make him real, make him darker, all this bullshit, pardon my French. It feels just like this. It feels like this when I see their portrayals and their deconstructions of the character. It's horrible.
Yeah,
I hate every one of those guys right now.
Yeah, well, they get theirs. Yeah. And that smug look, and there's even a look that Lex Luthor gives once he drops him, and it's kind of like a it's a juvenile kind of come at me again, bro, kind of look, but it's also this pose he does. It's like, I'm the new savior of Earth. I'm the new one who creates land here. I'm the new one who leads them or whatever. Oh, it's hard to watch. Now fly, right? So be the super in the man. Now see if you can fly.
Yeah.
And it's not his flight that saves them. It's those he's inspired. It's their flight that saves them.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, that as hard as this scene is, I'm not angry about it because of the way that they play out the movie in the end. They could have made this scene gratuitous, and it seems like it's probably gratuitous. I'm watching what you watched there, but it's actually the way they have this resolved in the end. It's not just him easily flying back and getting his revenge on them and humiliating them or anything like that. No, it's a wonderful lesson that it teaches. I'll talk about that as we see it, but here we have Jor-El.
Mm-hmm.
Human heart capable of monstrous deceits. That's a good moment. I wish I could embrace you in my arms. Again, the loneliness of the character. And of course, it's Jason with his good super sight evolving that sees him.
Big Superman's down there.
Yeah. I remember there was an interview with the kid when he was still young, you know, behind the scenes of the movie. Bryan Singer was asking, like, who's your favorite superhero? And like the expectation was for him to say Superman, but the little boy goes, Mr. Incredible.
That boy ain't right.
It's a boat. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yeah, there you go. And it's Lois that jumps in to save
She
him.
just jumps in. She doesn't even wait.
Yep. Putting him in a horrible case. Like, is he going to jump in and leave his son there all alone, or going after his wife or his fiance? And this is we don't see it so much here, but we'll see it when he's falling to earth later. But this is how you do Christ imagery right. Not Zack Snyder style, where you just beat yourself over the head with it every damn shot you can do. You know, you wait for it in its moment. We've seen the Moses imagery, we've seen the Atlas imagery, and we're going to see the Christ imagery in its time. And he is flown out of there rather than flies himself. That's telling. And it's hard too, right? I mean, this, you know, it takes him a while to get lifted. You know, it's not just an easy little save. You know, there's peril, there's risk involved in humanity following his inspiration.
I like what
I waste a ton.
Yeah.
I like what Muhammad said. I love these heroes beat up scenes because it tests the hero. It makes us feel for our hero, and it shows us that a hero's value and mettle come from the character and not pure brawn.
Very well stated. Yeah. Well stated, Muhammad. Definitely. I like this moment too, where the plane falls off the ledge, and again, you're left to wonder for a second, and then you see it take off.
Which reminds me, everyone needs to go see the movie Midway. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
What is that? I don't think I've heard of this.
Midway.
It's, the World War II one?
Yep.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's not the best movie, but it's a very, very good movie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, might want to pull the kryptonite out of his side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
She finds that in a second here. But it's interesting, though. She's getting the tool to take it out, and she doesn't even get all of it. We find that out later when he's in the hospital. So everything he's about to do now, he does still with the tiny sliver of kryptonite. Yeah.
And just think, he is not used to pain.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Think about that. Ouch. So what I love about this, first of all, we're going to see this moment.
What are you doing?
I know, exactly. First thing we're going to see here is Superman. He has this moment where he looks at them. He thanks her for saving him and stuff like that. And he looks, and you can see in his eye, he recognizes, no, I don't have a place here, that you are a family unit.
Yeah.
It's not my place to try and interfere anymore. You know, still doesn't know about Jason, but, you know, it's not my place to interfere there, you know, which is a nice little lesson for this character to learn in this character arc and progression. And then you've got Superman. He's repowered now, right? So all of the things we would like to do to somebody who's humiliated us like that. I mean, wouldn't it be cool to fly back and hover above the island and just make them dance with my heat vision? I mean, I'm going to humiliate them just like they did to me. I'm going to, you know, make them suffer. I'm going to do this like that. He doesn't do any of that. The very first thing he does is fly up to the sun, and we get this sort of sun deity imagery, but he flies up to his source of strength. And I love this message. I love this lesson, because when you've been hurt in life, when you've been bullied, when you've been really taken down, humiliated in whatever capacity, in whatever way, the initial immediate human instinct is to, I need revenge, I need to this, that, or I need to the pity party, or whatever. No, he goes back to his source of strength, literally, which is the yellow solar power of the sun. But the sun too. I mean, religiously, if you're religious, you can take that idea of your source of strength being God in some way, or whatever your source of strength is. You go there and you get recentered in that, recentered in who you are and the things that you would do, not in what your anger or reactions or revenge would do. And then what does he do? I like this, that he you see the fist curl and you think, oh, he's going to go get him now. But what he does, he doesn't go get him. He flies underneath it all and he carves this big cancerous growth out of the world that is his world. He's claiming Earth now. He's reclaiming it. He's saying, I'm going to separate this alien heritage that I thought was my only place anymore. I'm carving it out of Earth because this is my home. And that's beautiful. And that's a lesson for us, because some people you can't combat. Some bullies, especially online or whatever, there's some people that you just can't. If you were to go back and fight them, you're landing on their playing field, and their playing field is already rigged against you. So you think about that. Some people that come against you online or whatever, you coming back and you're having to have your last say and whatnot. That's just sullying you. That's giving you a weakness because you're trying to play on their field. Sometimes you all you can do is carve it out, whether that's blocking somebody, getting away from somebody, whatever. Sometimes the best thing you can do is remove them. And that helps not only you, but the world around you too. I just love this little picture and this object lesson that the film provides.
He feels so satisfied. He's lighting up a stogie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Billions of people going to really die? Yes.
Yeah. And now he realizes slowly what's happening.
Yeah.
Kumar's realizing he's never going to get White Castle again.
I don't know, White Castle. No, I want some.
I could use a sack myself.
I agree on Mr.
Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Credible is a great hero. I was just saying I agree with that.
And a good family man.
Exactly, yeah.
Netter, I'll take you for White Castle tomorrow after the toy drive.
Okay.
Aw.
I've actually cosplayed Mrs. Incredible.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, pics, please.
Well,
Did Troy do Mr. Incredible? Because I could totally see that too.
No, I didn't.
A work thing.
I wasn't able to get the costume together in time.
Oh no. And he's destroying this valley of his old gods. This new version that it is.
Just like
people,
the Klingons, they destroyed their gods because they were too much trouble.
Yeah, and I've heard people say, "How can you talk about people dying in Man of Steel when these guys totally just got killed?" Superman didn't try to kill them. All he can do, he can't land there. He cannot. All he can do is carve this growth. Like I said, out of the world. They're reaping the consequences of their own actions here. It's not something Superman's done to them.
Right.
That was collateral.
Yeah. He would never.
Not like he snapped their necks or something.
Exactly. Yeah. But people, they grasp at straws when they're desperately trying to convince you or defend something like that.
Her Miss Tessmacher moment.
Yep. There you go.
Oh, speaking of Miss Tessmacher, I do have a picture of me and Troy. He's Lex. I'm Miss Tessmacher.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Did you guys did you cosplay as that sometime or?
Yeah,
in Metropolis. Yeah,
that's right. I thought I'd seen some pictures of it. That's right. Forgot. Yeah, I would not want to be stuck in that.
Joshua.
Oh, good night, Josh.
Good night.
Thanks for hanging out with us. I would not want to be stuck in a helicopter with Lex after I'd done something like that either. See his anger there.
Or especially where they end up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is one heck of a landmass that he's lifting.
Yeah, I like the fact that you see the enormity of it long before you see him, because that shows what trials this really is for him, especially with a piece of kryptonite still inside of him, just barely recharged up from the last attack. But he's giving it all he's got, and this is the ultimate Atlas imagery in the film. Him pushing up the threat, the that which shouldn't be in our world, letting that go. And not only does this set up a, I love that image. I love the straining on his face and just that.
Yeah,
it's so perfect. And I love the shape that he got into for this film. Like, he wouldn't wear the muscle suit, and they didn't want to make him bulky, like, you know, the freaking Zack Snyder style, you know,
right.
That kind of thing. So but he's still got, when he's flexing, he's got the definition. You really do see it come through.
I love the John Williams score there with the choral music.
Yeah, yeah. That's so true. And I like that as he's doing it, the shards of kryptonite are reaching down to him.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to still be strong in the midst of all this threat coming towards him. Doing the right thing is, you know, it's especially once you start doing the right thing in the world, people come out of the woodworks to try to bring you back down, you know. You get attacked when you're trying to do the right thing. That's a great image there. The shards coming down.
Stephen Cruz. Damn, I'm all like, go, Superman, go.
Exactly, right?
You get the 2001 feel, too, here with that music.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hear you, Stephen Cruz. I'm right there with you. And when he's given all that he can give, now you have this Christ imagery of him falling in a cross-like pose to the earth. You know, this is him giving himself for earth, you know, in all that he's had. And it makes far more sense for him to fall like this rather than for Kal-El to awkwardly float out of a ship in a cross-like pose before falling down there. It's like, what are you doing, Snyder? Come on.
Okay, Professor Geek, I just dropped the link into my Mrs. Incredible pick. Hopefully you guys can see it.
Oh, cool, cool. Excellent. Let me go see if that works. It does work for me, but I'm a friend of yours, so I don't know if it's set to public or friends, but that's really cool. You look just like us. Great.
Yeah, really bad wig, though.
Oh, it works, though. It's got the right shape and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Nicely done. Good job. Like the long boots and everything.
Oh, I have lots
of course, my computer is taking longer to get there.
I like the quiet, the moment, like everybody's watching their god fall.
Nanette is a boot wearer.
Oh, yeah, I got lots of boots.
Don't tell Al that.
These boots are made for walking.
Well, we do.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like when Superman falls, you get a little bit of the earth shake, kind of reminiscent of the earthquake, but not, you know, anything to that severity. And I like, again, that it's humanity that comes around him to save him. They're gathering around their hero. They want this hope. And you think about, you know, sort of a metaphor for what 9/11, or not just 9/11, but what the world after 9/11 and what the world today continues to do to us in terms of our worldview and our hope, you know, whether individually for your life on your own or culturally or whatever. The world's constantly trying to kill it like that. The world's constantly trying to humiliate hope and humiliate goodness and humiliate the right thing to do. And sometimes you have to be the humans gathering around it and rallying to resuscitate it, and to, you know, you have to do your part to keep Superman alive. Superman still has a place and can still fulfill his function, but sometimes you have to do your part to make that happen. You have to you know, rally around and do this. And I think that's just another wonderful lesson of the film.
And think what these doctors have got to be thinking too. It's like, what the heck are we doing? I have absolutely no idea how to treat this man.
I know. Can't even put the IV in his vein there. I always forget how long this film is, too. Well over 2 hours already.
Good thing I took a potty break.
It's like 2.5.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel it. I won't lie. I'm going to stick around, but
saw the film and saw that, I freaked. I was like, no.
I know, me too. Like, what are you doing?
Okay, I also just dropped a link to Troy being Lex and me being Miss Tessmacher.
Oh, I love that one. I remember it when you finally confirmed it. Yeah, that it was something I remembered. That is really great. It's so perfect. Straight from the Donner films. It's just perfect.
Yeah, Troy actually altered one of my suits so that I would be wearing the exact same outfit as she was.
That is so cool. It is exactly like that, too.
Yeah.
And I love his I love your kryptonite chain there too.
I did. Yeah, I got that on Etsy. I made those the buttons and the lapels myself from scratch.
Oh, that is so sweet.
And again, you've got Richard here. This is hard, right? Because he realizes there's been something between them and everything, but he knows that there's some unfinished business there. Not that she's going to go cheat on him with him in the hospital bed or anything, but not just between them. It's because of what he did for the whole family in general too. You know, it's just more complex. Again, it's really well done, well written. I love Jason's picture there. That's so perfect. Perry's little smile. She gives him this little look like, you know, I can't believe you're this much of a man, you know, and he says you can go ahead and go.
You're Lois Lane. They'll let you in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the kid has to go with mommy so the kid can save daddy.
Yeah, exactly. I do like that. My heart melts at the little kiss he gives him. And I love, it's so sad seeing Ma Kent out there with the crowd, not able to go in. This is her son, but she can't give it away, you know?
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. But even Marie Saint, it's just such, it's, I mean, she did perfectly for the film, but it's so sad that if this was her only chance to play Ma Kent too, that we only got what we got from her here.
Very subtle, but very Ma Kent.
Yeah, very much so, yeah. I think you see her afterwards later. I forget exactly when. How jarring it is to see him in a hospital bed, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But here's where he hears her tell him the truth about Jason.
Y'all better hope so.
Aw.
Oh, I guess that's so damn sweet.
I know, isn't he? It's the dad in me, but it kills me right to the heart. Steven Cruz says, dang, I haven't seen this film shot in years, but it's shot so well that it really has me in suspense, even when I know what's going to happen. I know, exactly. You're absolutely right.
And I love as he goes over and looks at the outfit.
Yeah, yeah. His heritage, so to speak, you know?
Yeah.
This is a good one too, a gravitas. I mean, and again, this is what I mean when I say that Kate Bosworth here, she's not playing Lois Lane. That's you know, there's so much about her that's not Lois Lane, but she really effectively plays the role that was written for her quite well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's not Lois Lane. Lois Lane shouldn't be like that, but she really does a great job in this role that was written for her.
Yeah, you see all the negativity that she gets for this isn't her fault.
Exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, you got to go back to the writers, not her.
Do you catch the irony of I don't know if you can hear me? You know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
The one person who should be able to hear anything.
Well, also the one that recently told her, every day I hear the world crying out for a savior. Yeah. And I don't know if you can hear me now anymore. I mean, that's a big deal.
Now that's also a great scene. She kisses him and then looks to see if it did anything. And then she's like, what am I thinking? Of course not.
Yeah. Oh, heart melting moment. Just want to go wake up Alyssa now and give her a hug.
She should be coming to you, giving you a hug.
Poor thing's got a bad cold. She needs her rest. I don't know if you saw on Facebook, but I saw her. I took her for a little pony carriage ride today with the toy lift. And she loved it, but she's like, your nose is all, it's like, gotta get your girl home, get her rest.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah. There's Ma Kent. Yeah, we see her now in a second. Like the nuns there and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That is heartbreaking.
Yeah. Lex and Kitty here.
I love that.
And the coconuts, we only have 6 of those. He looks at the dog in a second. What will we have to eat? And he looks at the dog. And again, going back to the dog eat dog stuff.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'd wish for more than a quart of gasoline, buddy. You're gonna need a lot more than a quart.
Yeah, exactly.
Lex got his little piece of land.
Exactly. You're right. That's the imagery right there. He wanted his grand big scheme, and what he got was that tiny sliver stranded there.
Yes, he has his own island now.
Yep. He got his real estate.
Well, it's actually an atoll, I think.
I like the little look she gave the cop. Like, he's cute.
He's gone.
Yep.
That constitutes an emergency? The patient's gone?
I guess.
Okay, hospital windows don't open like that.
Yeah. Well, maybe in Metropolis they do.
There you go.
All right, fake city, fake windows, right?
Right.
So this is the conflict resolution here. This is what is his place? Is it to be above them, leading them, but not among them, and not in the warmth and the comfort, or is it to be down there among them? But if that's the case, can he still be leading them or whatever? This is the deal. It's like, you know, his legacy's there on Earth. It's that Pa Kent resolution, as I love the way you said that earlier, Troy. But this is you know, his legacy's here on Earth. This is his land, as he so well showed us by carving out, you know, the Krypton there. And well, but here's the oh, good.
It always comes back to what I always saying about Superman. It's not about the super. It's about the man. Exactly. And I like that he recites recites what Jor-El told him. The son becomes a father. The father becomes a son. You'll see the world through my eyes, and so forth. But here's the thing. You say creepy, but here's the thing. This is why I say the movie had to stop right where it stops. You know, when he says goodbye to Lois, because Superman now knows that Jason's his son. He hasn't had a chance. He's just come out of a coma. Everybody's asleep. He goes there to see his son. The next day, Superman would not be Superman if he allows Richard to continue to live, being some sort of cuckold, thinking that Richard is his kid, and it's not. He wouldn't just secretly live like that and yet sneak into Jason's room at night. I mean, that's not a Superman thing to do. At the same time, it's hard to imagine this with the way it's written, like Superman coming to, you know, and telling Richard everything, then laying out Lois, and then she's the bad, you know, as she would be, you know, she's written to be here. So it's like, as much as I'm intrigued to see how this story could have continued, I can't imagine any way it could go 1 second farther and still
without opening up
without everything falling apart.
Yeah, without opening a big can of worms.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
God, you could close your eyes and just you hear Christopher Reeve.
Yeah. It's true. Even sounds a little bit like Jor-El there in the diction, the way he's saying those words.
Well, you know, he listened to those lines.
Oh yeah. And Routh himself was a huge fan of the Donner film, not so much a comic book guy, but he had the same background as Clark Kent. He grew up in the Midwestern town.
Yeah.
He grew up in this kind of family with the values and everything, and he loved the character Superman from the movies. I've heard Routh say he's more of a fantasy guy when it comes to fan and geek and stuff like that. He likes the Warhammer novels and stuff like that and D&D stuff. But you can tell he really loves the character from the films too. And so we have that moment now. It's a take two. It's let's do this over. I'm not going to try to take you away from this anymore. I'm going to honor your place in this, but also my place in it now that I know I have one, you know?
Yeah.
And then the recitation of the lines here. I'm always around. Hope is always around. The hero Superman is always around. You just gotta believe in it. And then the only, and I mean the only way to end a Superman movie.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And now we transition away from that sad kind of theme that's been so profound and so heart-moving. We transition away from that back to the pure, triumphant, hopeful John Williams as he's flying up to orbit again. I love that chorus. So he's slowly flying up and out. Oh, it's such a beautiful score. There we go. And the smile. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's so perfect.
Did he just do a barrel roll?
Yep.
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I would too if I could fly like that.
Exactly. That's how you end a Superman movie.
Yep.
Smile, flying around Earth.
But did he get his crystals back?
But yeah, that's the thing. That's something that would have had to have been
That would have been
answered
the
later.
sequel, yeah.
They're on the planet that would have been calling out to Brainiac and so forth. So
Because I think what would be great here is he flies up and then he just goes to like one spot that's like devoid of people like he did originally, and he throws down a crystal and it starts growing again.
it would have to be in water to grow again, though.
Right.
But still.
Yeah.
Bo the bartender.
Oh, so it's not Bibbo. Oh, Bibbo. Okay, gotcha. Maybe. Yeah. Gotcha. All right, that was good.
Wow.
Man, I'm really glad we did that, and I want to thank you and you and Troy out both of you guys for letting me kind of bump back into this because I'm not doing these anymore. I know you guys had all these things planned, and I was like, can I maybe come back in just to do Superman Returns? Because I wanted to do it though because again, as I said, we've got Routh returning to the S Shield. Sunday night's the first night of the crossover. You said, Al, that apparently he is going to make his debut in that first episode of the crossover, or
that's what I've heard, but I don't know. Who knows?
Okay. Gotcha.
The crossovers are pretty much the character of the show they're on is kind of the featured person, but everybody can show up.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm sorry about the chat. I've been this movie just means a lot to me. I was really just wrapped up in this movie big time. Thank you, Troy, for engaging with the chat a bit more there. But I'm just going back and seeing some things. I do see, I love hearing this. Owen Lister says, I'm liking Brandon Routh more and more now. Yeah. Stephen Cruz says, I've never really examined this film before because I haven't seen it since I was a kid. But man, you guys really changed my view on this film. It's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
I agree. I really have lightened up in my opinion of it, especially with a lot of the things you said tonight.
Oh, cool. I'm glad to hear that. And again, nothing negates the problems. You pointed out a lot of great ones, and they're there, notwithstanding, definitely. But just so much there. Good night, Melissa. I think Melissa's taking off. See you there. Yeah. So wow, it's just it's nice.
Yeah, but it is like top to bottom. it's a great film. Despite, like I said, despite its characterization issues,
it's well crafted. The problems come in when you think of it as a Superman movie. You know?
Right.
This was probably our last film version of the iconic Superman, and it's been so long since we've seen him that way. It'll be nice that he'll be, putting on the S shield again, kind of like yourself. It's been so long since we've seen you in a stream, and then you come back for a brief guest appearance
wearing a Superman suit.
Exactly.
That's right. Well, the Catholic Bible Geek has been streaming, so those who haven't subscribed to that, please do. I'll drop the link again. But yeah, it's nice to be back again. I'm just not in a place where I can come back regularly like this, but it's nice to come back when I can. And you guys are doing great with the streams. If you haven't been watching Al's channel, the links to Al and Troy's channel and Fan Man's for that matter are in the description below. Go to the very bottom so it's easy to find. And yeah, they've been doing the great streams on Al's channel thus far, but then I think you're going to start doing some on Troy's channel.
We're going to have to, because they've been and I said, Al, the movie thing is your thing, so the rewatches should probably be on your channel. But then we found out that there's going to be limitations on StreamYard.
Yeah.
So I said, well, then we'll just go back and forth, and we'll both shoulder the burden.
Because doing some math, you get 20 hours a week. I mean, 20 hours a month free.
Mm-hmm.
That's your limit. And if figuring all that, you figure every movie, depending on the movie, like Die Hard is 2 hours 15. And if you have a good stream going, the other night our stream went like 2:15 to 2:30. I mean, we streamed a lot longer than we had intended to.
Mm-hmm.
But I figure if, like I said, if we split up the movie rewatches,
mm-hmm.
then I think we'll be a lot. That would open that'd be a 4 to 6 hour buffer that would give me.
Yeah,
depending on how the weeks roll.
And I did say you guys could use my channel too, because
that's right. Yeah,
I have to get Nanette's channel more up and running too, if that's what it's going to take.
So that
between all of us, we can do this. It's a true network. It's a true network.
Exactly. Real super friends.
That should be 60 hours worth of stuff we can watch.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And that it was so great to have you with us on Nanette. First time on the channel. So great to see you.
Yeah, well, it's great to be here. It's like, hope I can, join you guys again. It's just fun.
Absolutely.
Yes, I usually get that little whisper in my ear.
Yeah.
It's nice to have the full effect now. but we were talking about tomorrow night what we were going to do.
Oh yeah, let's get that.
Because originally it was going to be your night, and then you switched because of something that was happening, and then it opened up me again. But
I've got Alyssa tomorrow night, so I couldn't do the Superman Returns then.
We had originally planned to do Die Hard next weekend, but Troy and Nanette, you're going out of town.
Yeah, we're going to be out of town, so I realized that I would not be able to be there.
So what I was originally planning to do was just doing it the next week. After that, then just whatever. But we could just go ahead and do it tomorrow night, and that would open up other things tomorrow. And tomorrow is when everything resets for me. December 7th is the 7th of the month is my StreamYard reset day. So tomorrow I get zeroed out again. So let's go ahead tomorrow night, 10 o'clock. Okay. We'll do Die Hard, and I will watch this action adventure police cop film that just happens to take place at a certain time of year,
and we will just have to try to convince you that it is in fact a Christmas movie,
a full-on Christmas movie, which I just don't see happening.
I don't agree with that either. I'm with Al. It is not a Christmas film.
Thank you. I mean, and Troy tried the argument. It's like, well, if everybody thinks it is, then it must be. No, that is not.
Well,
not true.
Wait and let me actually present that argument.
I know, but it's no. I am more concerned about the film itself, not the people watching it. It's a whole different thing.
That's kind of how tradition works, Al.
Well,
you kind of need the people to do the tradition.
Well,
otherwise,
see,
there is no tradition.
People can do it, but it doesn't make it something it's not.
There was a time when pine trees had nothing to do with Christmas. Just saying.
Matt Inouye says, please don't get into that. We'll be here all night.
We'll save it for tomorrow.
If a horror film happens at Easter, it doesn't make it an Easter film. So, I'm with Al on this.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, I will leave you guys to that, but I'm gonna sign us off here and get some work done. But anything else coming up? So tomorrow on Al's channel, what time, Al?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Tomorrow, Eastern.
9 o'clock Central.
Yep.
And then I guess the week that you guys aren't on, to be determined. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And then Sunday night, Stave 1 of A Christmas Carol on the Catholic Bible Geek channel. Again, I'll drop the link one more time because I didn't put it in there before. But and then Monday night, the next 2 chapters of The Hobbit. Tuesday night,
I gotta get to those.
Tuesday night, the chat again with Troy and Al. And is that going to be on your channel again, Al, or Troy's? You guys still haven't called it anything yet, have you?
Yeah, we need a name for it.
It's like not office hours on Al and Troy's.
I still like Troy and Al Tuesday night with Troy and Al.
That's a horrible name.
It's not very catchy.
Well,
I was going to resist though because
the Tonight Show with Johnny.
The show formerly known as Office Hours, but not with the professor, instead with Big Al and Troy.
Oh, no, overtime. If it's not office hours, it's after. So overtime.
Overtime? Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I'll leave them to figure that out. But yeah, so come back for all that. I neglected to leave links to everybody's Twitter, but it's pretty easy to find. You type Troy Pacelli or Big Al Bowski and Boski, I'm sorry, Boski. in Twitter, you'll find everybody. But yeah, links to YouTubes are there. So anything else I'm forgetting, guys, or anything else you guys want to mention or throw out before we go?
Yeah, nothing I can think of. Again, thanks for having me on the show. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. You'll have to come back next time because, yeah, I like this. I liked it's nice to do it again. I just couldn't do it regularly as before, but maybe the next time something really important to me or big time hits, I'll see if you guys got a space or if I can nudge my way into the schedule and we'll do another one. So
we'll find a way to work you in there.
Thank you.
You're always welcome.
Nice to know. And you as well, Nanette, on the channel. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Come back tomorrow night to Al's and Sunday night on ours. Until then, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love. Thanks for watching.
Stay super.